Chapter 220. A Mantis Trying to Stop a Chariot. You're overestimating yourself. Seeing that Long Yutian and the others were about to stop him, Bai Xiang's face darkened. He swung his sword at Long Yutian, who was standing at the front of the battle formation of 4 symbols, and said coldly, "Since you're courting death, I'll kill you first." Bai Xiang swung his sword, and a sharp sword light shot out from the longsword in his hand. It was like a crescent moon that swept towards Long Yutian. As soon as the sword light appeared, it exploded with a shocking aura. This aura was enough to frighten a LV8 true energy realm martial artist. "Brother Long, watch out!" Seeing the sword light slashing towards Long Yutian, Lu Fengliang and the others' expressions changed as they warned him. Hearing their warning, Long Yutian's face darkened. Without hesitation, he immediately took out his mystic crystal shield. As soon as Long Yutian took out the mystic crystal shield, it emitted a dazzling light that formed a light screen and blocked Bai Xiang's sword light. Bang! The sword light hit the light screen and a muffled sound was heard. The light shone so brightly that no one could look directly at it. Thud! 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 At the same time, after blocking Bai Xiang's sword, Long Yutian was also forced to retreat. Long Yutian only stopped when he was pushed back 10 meters. His face was slightly red, and his blood was boiling. It seemed that Long Yutian did not have a good time after taking Bai Xiang's sword attack head-on. However, Long Yutian should be proud of himself for being able to take Bai Xiang's full force attack, even though he was only at LV5 true energy realm. That kid took Bai Xiang's sword attack head-on. Seeing this, the surrounding people's expressions changed. They were all shocked and had a whole new level of respect for Long Yutian. Although Long Yutian was in a sorry state, no one looked down on him. On the contrary, they were all very impressed by Long Yutian's achievement. There were not many people who could take Bai Xiang's attack head-on despite the difference of 4 cultivation levels. Seeing Long Yutian's flushed face, Lu Fengliang and the others were worried. They walked to Long Yutian's side and asked with concern, "Brother Long, are you all right? I won't die." Long Yutian let out a deep breath and smiled brightly. He replied to everyone, telling them not to worry. Lu Fengliang and the others relaxed a little when they saw Long Yutian's reaction. After replying to Lu Fengliang and the others, Long Yutian revealed a haughty expression as he confronted Bai Xiang. He said disdainfully, "9th level true element stage, nothing more than this." 9th level of the true element stage was nothing more than this. As soon as Long Yutian finished speaking, the surrounding people's expressions changed again. They were surprised by Long Yutian's actions. He was directly provoking Bai Xiang. Bai Xiang's face darkened when he heard Long Yutian's words. He felt humiliated. With his cultivation at the 9th level of the true energy realm, he had used all his strength to attack a true energy realm cultivator. In the end, not only was the other party unscathed, he even dared to provoke him. It would be a great humiliation to him if word of this got out. Thinking of this, Bai Xiang's eyes turned cold. He looked at Long Yutian and said coldly, "You're lucky that I didn't kill you with my sword. Since you're so eager to die, I'll fulfill your wish." As soon as Bai Xiang finished speaking, he moved and attacked Long Yutian again. This time, he was even fiercer and more ruthless than before. "You're too arrogant. You don't have the right to be arrogant in front of me." When Bai Xiang attacked, Mo Qingyun's face darkened. He said coldly and pounced on Bai Xiang like an eagle. "Bird of prey attack." Mo Qingyun's body moved and turned into a streamer of light. A violent wind blade wreaked havoc around his body as he arrived beside Bai Xiang in a few flashes. As Mo Qingyun charged towards Bai Xiang, he didn't forget to instruct Lu Fengliang and the others, "Brother Lu, take Brother Long and retreat to the side. Let Brother Long adjust his breathing." Mo Qingyun knew very well that although Long Yutian was not directly injured when he received Bai Xiang's attack, his blood and qi were shaken. He needed to rest for a while. "Okay." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lu Fengliang immediately nodded in agreement. He knew why Mo Qingyun made such arrangements. Then, Lu Fengliang did not hesitate and helped Long Yutian to the side to rest. At the same time, he did not forget to say to Mo Qingyun with concern, "Brother Mo, you have to be careful too." Seeing Mo Qingyun attacking him, Bai Xiang's face darkened and he looked ferocious. At this moment, the anger in Bai Xiang's heart reached its peak and erupted like a volcano. He could not accept that a LV5 True Energy Realm brat had just provoked him. In the blink of an eye, a LV3 True Energy Realm brat had taken the initiative to attack him. This was a great humiliation to him. He, Bai Xiang, was a LV9 True Energy Realm expert from the Sword Kingdom of the 10 Great Kingdoms. How could he be looked down upon again and again? He absolutely could not accept such a thing. "You're courting death." Bai Xiang's face darkened and his eyes flashed coldly. He said ferociously, "Brat, since you're so eager to die, I'll kill you first before killing them." Meteor Frenzy Strike. As soon as Bai Xiang finished speaking, he slashed at Mo Qingyun with his sword. His movement was as fast as a meteor and the sword radiance flashed by. Then, a sword radiance, like a wild python coming out of its cave, charged at Mo Qingyun with an irresistible force. Fire Dragon Seal. Looking at the rapidly approaching sword radiance, Mo Qingyun did not dare to hesitate. He immediately raised his hand and took out the Fire Dragon Seal. Soon, 49 Fire Dragon Seals appeared in front of Mo Qingyun and formed a flame shield to block the incoming sword radiance. Bang! The sword radiance hit the flame shield and instantly let out a loud explosion. The origin energy went berserk. At the same time, a crack appeared on the flame shield, as if it was about to be cut apart. After seeing this scene, Bai Xiang revealed a disdainful expression and sneered, "Brat, with just this bit of ability of yours, you won't be able to withstand my sword. Is that so?" Hearing Bai Xiang's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and raised his hand to take out 34 Fire Dragon Seals again. As soon as the 34 Fire Dragon Battle Seals were summoned, they quickly merged with the Fire Shield and strengthened it. With the addition of the 34 Fire Dragon Battle Seals, the cracked Flame Battle Shield started to heal slowly, and its aura became even stronger. Suppress it. After blocking Bai Xiang's sword, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate. He controlled the Flame Shield to suppress the sword radiance. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's Flame Shield shone brightly. Ferocious flames burst out, as if they were going to burn the world. Ultimacy power. The Flame Shield was exuding ultimacy power. Furthermore, it was not a simple level 1 ultimacy power. Level 3 ultimacy. Bai Xiang's face twitched as he felt the powerful fire ultimacy in the flaming shield. His heart was filled with fear as he exclaimed, "How? How is this possible? How did this kid comprehend level 3 fire ultimacy?" Bai Xiang knew that with the help of Mo Qingyun's level 3 ultimacy, the gap between their cultivations was narrowed. Furthermore, Mo Qingyun's martial soul was much higher than his. Therefore, it would be difficult for him to kill Mo Qingyun. Sword Burst Meteor. Seeing this, Bai Xiang did not dare to hesitate. He immediately waved the longsword in his hand and slashed at the flame shield. Following this, dazzling sword radiance burst out from Bai Xiang's longsword and bombarded the flame shield. Bang bang bang, facing Bai Xiang's frenzied attacks, the flame shield immediately burst out with resplendent light. It was like fireworks, radiating light in all directions. A moment later, facing Bai Xiang's crazy attacks, the flame shield finally couldn't withstand the heavy blows and exploded under Bai Xiang's attack. Bang! Once the flame shield exploded, it turned into a mushroom-like cloud of fire. An origin energy storm burst out from it and swept in all directions. Under this elemental energy storm, the entire world was dyed red. Those who were close to it could clearly feel the burning pain on their skin from the heat wave. After destroying the flame shield, Bai Xiang looked gloomy. He looked at Emo Qingyun and said coldly, "Brat, even if your comprehension is high, you will still die in front of the absolute gap in cultivation. Is that so?" After hearing Bai Xiang's words, Emo Qingyun curled his lips and said disdainfully, "It's too early for you to be happy. Don't forget that I haven't made my move yet." Sun incinerating mountain splitting saber. After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he did not waste any more words with Bai Xiang. He immediately slashed at Bai Xiang with his red silk saber. As Emo Qingyun's saber landed, the red silk saber immediately shone brightly. A fiery dragon-like saber radiance burst out and engulfed Bai Xiang. At this moment, the fiery dragon-like saber radiance was like a real fiery dragon under the support of ultimacy. It emitted a powerful dragon's aura that made people's expressions change. What a powerful attack! Seeing Emo Qingyun's attack approaching, Bai Xiang's expression changed. He felt that he could not resist it. Not good. This brat's attack is several times stronger under the support of ultimacy. His attack is enough to threaten brother Bai Xiang. When he witnessed this scene, Ying Feng's expression instantly changed, and he stopped hesitating and charged at Emo Qingyun. After Ying Feng charged at Emo Qingyun, he said to Bai Xiang, "Brother Bai Xiang, let me help you. Let's kill this brat together." "Okay." Seeing Ying Feng attack, Bai Xiang's expression eased a little. He raised his sword and blocked Emo Qingyun's attack. Demonic eagle pierces the sky. When Bai Xiang attacked, Ying Feng did not hesitate and immediately attacked Emo Qingyun. As soon as Ying Feng attacked, his entire body was like a demonic eagle. He swooped down from the sky and attacked his prey on the ground. Finally can't help but attack? Chapter 221. Fire Dragon Seal. As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he raised his hand and summoned the Fire Dragon Battle Seal, condensing the Fire Dragon Battle Shield and charging towards Eagle Peak. After blocking Ying Feng's attack, Emo Qingyun's face darkened. He looked at Ying Feng and said arrogantly, "If I want to kill him, you won't be able to do it." As soon as Emo Qingyun's words fell, he once again slashed his saber at Bai Xiang, blasting out an even more powerful saber light than before. At this moment, when Emo Qingyun slashed out with his saber, his entire being seemed to have merged with the heavens and the earth, making people involuntarily look up to him. Force. Emo Qingyun's saber strike actually contained saber force. With the help of the blade force, Emo Qingyun's slash seemed to have merged with the heavens and earth. Blade force. Bai Xiang's face twitched when he saw the blade aura that was rapidly approaching him, as if it was going to cut through the sky. He couldn't help but regret his decision. If he had listened to Ling Luo and killed Lei Hao, he would have stood on Ling Luo's side. If he had stood on Emo Qingyun's side, he wouldn't have been the one in this situation. However, Bai Xiang was also very clear in his heart that at this moment, he no longer had the chance to regret. Silver Horn Golden Flame Beast, appear. Bai Xiang didn't dare to hesitate and immediately summoned his martial soul. Under Bai Xiang's summon, a phantom of a demonic beast with a silver horn and a body covered in golden armor appeared in the air above his head. Triple kill. After summoning his martial soul, Bai Xiang didn't hesitate and immediately used his martial soul superpower to attack Emo Qingyun. At this moment, Bai Xiang attacked and slashed out 3 times in a row. What surprised Emo Qingyun was that after Bai Xiang used his martial soul superpower, Bai Xiang's 3 slashes seemed to contain some ultimacy. However, it was merely some realm, and not the true profoundness. Soon, the 3 slashes of sword light collided with the fire dragon saber light. However, with this collision, the 3 sword lights were instantly defeated by the fire dragon saber light and dissipated into the heavens and earth. Not only that, but the fire dragon saber light didn't slow down after destroying the 3 sword lights and continued to slash at Bai Xiang. Bang! Then, the crowd saw that Bai Xiang was struck by the saber light and was sent flying. Puff! Bai Xiang landed on the ground and coughed up blood. His face was pale and his clothes were tattered. He looked extremely miserable. Seeing Bai Xiang's miserable state, Ing Feng's face twitched and a trace of fear appeared on his face. His strength was about the same as Bai Xiang's, but he was actually heavily injured by Mo Qingyun. Didn't that mean that if it had been him, he wouldn't have been able to withstand Mo Qingyun's blade either? Ing Feng didn't dare to hesitate any longer and immediately summoned his martial soul. Heaven-shaking lion, appear! Under Ing Feng's summons, the shadow of a golden lion appeared above him. Saint Elephant heaven-shaking stomp. After summoning his martial soul, Ing Feng didn't hesitate and immediately used his martial soul superpower. As soon as Ing Feng used his martial soul's ability, the entire sky darkened and was blocked by a huge figure. Roar! The moment the huge figure appeared, it emitted a ferocious aura and let out a deafening roar that shook the heavens and the earth. Then, the crowd saw the huge figure stomp down on Mo Qingyun like Mount Tai. The huge figure moved quickly and in the blink of an eye, Mo Qingyun was under its foot. Bang! After this giant foot stomped Mo Qingyun into the ground, it immediately let out a loud sound. The earth quaked and the mountains shook violently. At the same time, a shocking wave of air spread out from under the huge figure's foot. After a while, when the wave of air dissipated, the crowd saw a huge crater where Mo Qingyun had been standing. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's figure could no longer be seen in the deep pit. Presumably, he had been stomped into ashes by that huge figure. Brother Mo, He Long Yutian and the others tensed up when they saw this. They were extremely worried. Could it be that Mo Qingyun had been completely obliterated by Ing Feng's attack? While Long Yutian and the others were worried, the people from the other kingdoms were whispering to each other. Do you think this kid can survive? I don't think so. Didn't you see that there's not even a speck of dust left in the crater? How can he still be alive? Even dark steel would have been flattened by that terrifying kick, let alone a human. The people from the other kingdoms shook their heads. They felt that Mo Qingyun was dead for sure. Ing Feng's expression relaxed when he saw that Mo Qingyun had been stomped into nothing by his martial soul super ability. He believed that Mo Qingyun was dead. In his opinion, although Mo Qingyun's comprehension was strong and his martial soul realm was high, his cultivation was limited. He wouldn't have been able to take this attack. Ing Feng's expression darkened when he thought of this. He ordered Ing Xing and the others, Ing Xing, go and take care of those people. Other than that, Ling Luo, kill everyone else. Now that he knew Ling Luo's identity, Ing Feng didn't dare to kill him. There were close to 100 kingdoms here. If he killed a genius from the Sword Kingdom, the news would quickly spread to the Sword Kingdom. If the Sword Kingdom retaliated, he wouldn't be able to bear the consequences even if he was the Prince of the Eagle Kingdom. Yes. Ing Xing and the others sneered when they heard Ing Feng's order. They slowly approached Long Yutian and the others. Lu Fengliang, you didn't expect this, did you? In the end, you won't be able to escape death. At this moment, Ma Ju sneered and looked at Long Yutian complacently. She said coldly, Long Yutian, it's all your fault. You went to look for Mo Qingyun and his brother, causing us to be unable to enter the 9 Palaces vault. Now I'm going to settle this account with you. As soon as Ma Ju finished speaking, she no longer hesitated and immediately attacked Long Yutian. Boom! At that moment, just as Ma Ju and the others were about to make their move, a loud explosion suddenly sounded from the crater beside them. Following that, the crowd saw a figure flying out from the crater. Mo Qingyun. The figure that flew out of the pit was Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was completely fine after being hit by Ing Feng's martial soul super ability. Everyone's expression changed when they saw this. They found it hard to believe. Am I seeing things? That kid isn't dead? Looking at him, he doesn't seem to be injured. How did he take Ing Feng's martial soul super ability? What kind of monster is this kid? He can't even be killed. That's insane. Although he's not dead, I think he's at the end of his rope now that he took Ing Feng's martial soul super ability. At this moment, the expressions of the surrounding people all changed, and they all sighed in amazement. Brother Mo, he's still alive. Lu Fengliang and the others were pleasantly surprised when they saw Mo Qingyun emerge from the pit. Compared to the joy of Lu Fengliang and the others, Ing Feng and the others had ugly expressions on their faces. Ing Feng's expression changed when he saw that Mo Qingyun was fine. He looked at Mo Qingyun in disbelief and said, You're not dead? Dead? Mo Qingyun curled his lips when he heard Ing Feng's words. He said casually, You think too highly of yourself. You can't kill me with your elephant foot. Since you've run out of tricks, I'll send you to a company by Xiang. Mo Qingyun's expression darkened when he heard Ing Feng's words. He started to attack him. Next, Mo Qingyun slashed at Ing Feng with his saber. His body exuded a shocking saber aura, raising the power of his saber to the extreme. Eagle soars the sky. Ing Feng didn't dare to hesitate when he saw Mo Qingyun coming at him. He immediately jumped up and dodged. He had seen how Mo Qingyun had severely injured by Xiang, so he didn't dare to be careless. He took Mo Qingyun's attack head-on. He didn't think that he was much stronger than Bai Xiang. Ma Ju and the other man's expressions changed when they saw Mo Qingyun attack Ing Feng. They panicked. They knew that after what they had done to Mo Qingyun, they wouldn't be able to escape death if Ing Feng was killed. What should we do? We have to think of a solution before Ing Feng is defeated. Otherwise, we'll be dead for sure. Ma Ju and the other man's eyes flashed as they tried to think of a way to save their lives. However, their eyes lit up when they saw Long Yutian and the others. They had a way to save their lives. After that, Ma Ju rolled her eyes and didn't dare hesitate. She immediately said coldly to Eagle Star, Lord Eagle Star, these kids are Mo Qingyun's brothers. So long as we capture them and use them to pressure Mo Qingyun will definitely hesitate to take action. Ing Xing's eyes immediately lit up when he heard Ma Ju's words. He said with praise, Your suggestion is very, very good. Once we're done with this, I'll get Brother Ing Feng to reward you handsomely. Thank you, Sir Ing Xing. Ma Ju and the other man's faces lit up when they heard Ing Xing's words. They hurriedly replied respectfully. Let's take action immediately and capture these people. After praising Ma Ju, Ing Xing and the others charged at Long Yutian and the others. Their movements were extremely vicious, leaving no room for negotiation. Judging from their actions, they intended to end the battle quickly and capture Long Yutian and the others in the shortest time possible. Although Lu Fengliang and the others had formed a battle formation, they were quickly forced into a passive position by Ing Feng and the others' forceful attack. After all, Ing Xing and the others were at the 7th level of the true energy realm. Moreover, they had far more people than Lu Fengliang and the others. Given Lu Fengliang and the others' cultivations, it was already a very good result that they were able to avoid being easily defeated. Ma Ju and the other man sneered when they saw that Lu Fengliang and the others were quickly forced into a passive position under Ing Feng and the others' attack. Subsequently, Ma Ju revealed a complacent sneer as he looked at Mo Qingyun and said smugly, Mo Qingyun, aren't you very strong? Now, let's capture Long Yutian and the others right in front of you and then viciously torture them in front of you. As for Miss Ruoshui, I've admired her for a long time. Chapter 222. Iray. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and immediately attacked Ma Ju. Then, a purple ray of light shot out from Mo Qingyun's eyes and shot towards Ma Ju. Demon Ray. Seeing the purple ray of light, the surrounding people's expressions changed and fear rose in their hearts. They knew that it was Demon's technique. Mo Qingyun had mastered Demon's technique. Then, there was only one possibility. Mo Qingyun had been possessed by Demon. When this thought appeared in everyone's mind, They were shocked again and their faces were filled with shock. That guy has been possessed by I-Demon. Run, I-Demon is even more terrifying after possessing a human body. It is said that in the 10 great kingdoms, there was a person who was possessed by I-Demon and his strength instantly increased by several times. That person in the 10 great kingdoms was not considered powerful. There was a guy called Chui Wei who was possessed by I-Demon and killed thousands of people by himself before he was killed by everyone. That's terrifying. What are we waiting for? Let's run for our lives. Run for our lives? Don't forget that the various kingdoms in the 100 Kingdoms battlefield have a unified agreement. If we meet someone who has been possessed by I-Demon, we must work together to kill him. If anyone violates this agreement, they will be hunted down by all the kingdoms. Let them hunt me down. I don't care so much. With my strength, I will only be courting death. I want to live for a few more days. At this moment, the people from the various kingdoms were divided into 2 camps. On one side, they wanted to kill Mo Qingyun, and on the other, they wanted to run for their lives. Other than that, there was a small group of people who wanted to observe the situation before making a decision. Swoosh! At this moment, while the surrounding people were still in shock, Mo Qingyun's eye ray pierced through the air and shot towards Ma Ju. Pucci! Facing the attack of the eye ray, Ma Ju's head was penetrated before she could react. She was killed by Mo Qingyun in an instant. Ma Ju's eyes widened, unable to believe that this was the result. She raised her hand and pointed at Mo Qingyun, speechless. Big brother! Seeing Ma Ju being killed by Mo Qingyun, Ma Hua's face immediately twitched, revealing a look of horror. Without any hesitation, Ma Hua turned around and ran for his life. He did not dare to stay there any longer. You'd better go accompany your big brother obediently. Seeing Ma Hua's action, Mo Qingyun's face darkened. After uttering a cold sentence, he shot a ray of eye power at Ma Hua. Pucci! As soon as the ray of eye power shot out, it pierced through Ma Hua's head in the blink of an eye, making him follow in Ma Ju's footsteps. Holy shit! Don't tell me this is one of the techniques that Boss said he had mastered in the 9 temples. At this moment, Ling Luo gulped. His face was filled with shock and disbelief. If that was really the case, then Mo Qingyun's method was a little too awesome. It's possible. Brother Mo, just how many surprises is he going to give me? Ever since I first met him, he has been displaying all sorts of shocking moves. Brother Long, you really have a good eye for people. Haha, I think so too. At this moment, Lu Fengliang and the other 2 sighed after Ling Luo. Their hearts were filled with complex emotions. They were happy that such an awesome person like Mo Qingyun was their brother. What was depressing was that the gap between them and Mo Qingyun seemed to have widened. Eye of the Demon Eye. At this moment, Ying Feng's expression also changed as he uttered this shocking sentence. After a short moment of shock, a cold smile appeared on Ying Feng's face. He looked at Mo Qingyun and sneered. Boy, I was worried about how to deal with you, but I didn't expect you to dig your own grave. Boy, I'm afraid you don't know? At this moment, a cold smile appeared on Ying Feng's face as he said proudly, in the 100 countries battlefield, if you meet a cultivator who has been possessed by the eye demon, all the kingdoms will join forces to destroy him. Just you wait to die under our combined might. After saying this to Mo Qingyun, Ying Feng sneered and said to the people of the surrounding kingdoms, What are you waiting for? Have you forgotten the agreement between the kingdoms? At this moment, Ying Feng's plan was to first borrow the strength of the surrounding kingdoms to destroy Mo Qingyun. Then, he would go and take the treasures on Mo Qingyun's body. Hearing Ying Feng's words, the people of the surrounding kingdoms revealed a trace of hesitation as they considered whether or not to make a move. What are you all waiting for? The Eagle Kingdom asked us to make a move. This is a good opportunity to take the treasures. Seeing the hesitation on the faces of the people of the surrounding kingdoms, the Du family in the crowd frowned. One of them immediately said, "The Eagle Kingdom asked us to make a move. Once we kill Mo Qingyun and take his treasures, the Eagle Kingdom will have nothing to say." Hearing the Du family's words, the surrounding people immediately became impatient, and their faces revealed anxious expressions. "That's right, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If we miss this opportunity, there won't be another one. Let's make a move immediately. We can't let the other kingdoms take the initiative. Haha, the ancient treasures of the 9 temples belong to our gorgeous kingdom. You want to fight with our Gaosha kingdom for the treasures? You're courting death." At this moment, the people of the surrounding kingdoms seemed to have gone crazy. Their faces were filled with greed as they rushed towards Mo Qingyun. At this moment, when the people of the various kingdoms were rushing towards Mo Qingyun frowned and looked in the direction of the person who had instigated them. With one look, Mo Qingyun's face immediately darkened. The person who had instigated him was actually from the Xia Kingdom's Du family. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly understood everything. The person who had spread the rumor that he had obtained the ancient treasures was actually from the Du family. "People from the Du clan, so it was you who did this. I will remember your kindness." After this discovery, Mo Qingyun's face darkened. He looked at the Du family and coldly said, "Today I, Mo Qingyun, will announce that from today onwards, the Du family will have no place in the 100 Countries battlefield. I want the Du family to disappear from the 100 Countries battlefield." After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the people of the Du family immediately sneered. One of them disdainfully said, "Mo Qingyun, aren't you afraid of biting your tongue when you talk big? Do you think that you have a chance of surviving today when facing over 100 kingdoms? Whether or not I have a chance of surviving, I will kill you all first." Hearing the words of the people of the Du family, Mo Qingyun's face darkened. A purple light flashed in his eyes and shot towards one of the people of the Du family. Poochie! The purple light disappeared in a flash. Then, one of the people of the Du family was instantly killed by Mo Qingyun. Seeing Mo Qingyun's move, the faces of the people of the Du family immediately twitched. They no longer dared to speak arrogantly and quickly hid in the crowd. Seeing that the people of the various kingdoms had pinned down Mo Qingyun, Ing Feng sneered, "Brat, since you are so loyal, I will take down your friends first. With them in my hands, I will make you take the initiative to hand over the treasure." With this thought in mind, Ing Feng's body moved. He quickly charged towards Long Yutian and the others, preparing to take them down. Seeing Ing Feng's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed. He knew what Ing Feng was thinking. Ing Feng wanted to use the same trick again. He would first take down Long Yutian and the others, then use them to threaten him. Bird of prey break. After knowing Ing Feng's intentions, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate. He rushed towards Long Yutian and the others and said to Lu Fengliang and the others, "Brother Lu, come to my side." "Okay." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lu Fengliang and the others did not hesitate and rushed towards Mo Qingyun. Not long after, Lu Fengliang arrived at Mo Qingyun's side, causing Ing Feng's plan to fail. Mo Qingyun sneered when he saw Lu Fengliang and the others approaching him. He looked at Ing Feng and sneered, "Ing Feng, your plan has failed." Brat, don't be so smug. No matter what, you will all die today." Ing Feng's expression darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's words, and he replied through gritted teeth, "You don't have to worry about that." After replying to Ing Feng, Mo Qingyun ignored him and turned to look at the people from the various kingdoms. "Everyone, I, Mo Qingyun, am not a bloodthirsty person. I will give you all a chance. As long as you leave immediately, I will not pursue your actions. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expressions of the surrounding people immediately changed. They were somewhat shocked by Mo Qingyun's current behavior. In this situation, Mo Qingyun actually dared to say such words? Was he stupid? After a short moment of silence, the surroundings immediately became noisy. Everyone looked at Emo Chinyun with disdain. Brat, do you think you can scare us? You think you can make us leave with just a few words? Dream on. Brat, if you know what's good for you, you'd best hand over the ancient treasure and the treasure of the 9 temples. That way we'll give you a chance to kill yourself. Brat, don't worry. After you die, we'll take care of that beauty behind you. For a moment, the people from the various kingdoms all looked at Ing Feng with disdain and arrogance. Seeing the reactions of the surrounding kingdoms, Ing Feng smirked coldly and said to Emo Chinyun, Brat, you should just obediently commit suicide. You won't be able to survive today. Chapter 223. Start a massacre? Hearing Emo Chinyun's words, everyone was stunned and looked at Emo Chinyun in shock. In their hearts, they had thought of many possibilities, but this was the only one they had not thought of. Emo Chinyun had actually said something like this at a time like this. At this moment, everyone fell silent and looked at Emo Chinyun as if they were looking at an idiot. In their eyes, Emo Chinyun's actions were no different from an idiot's. At most, he was an idiot with decent strength. Haha, I'm dying of laughter. After a short moment of silence, a loud laugh broke the silence. Boy, when you tell jokes, you're quite decent. Following this laugh, the people around also laughed and mocked Emo Chinyun. Boy, what you said just now made me very happy. I've decided to leave your corpse intact. You're about to die and you can still say something like this. What a weirdo. Don't you know fear? From what I see, this boy has probably been scared silly. He probably can't even remember what he said just now. That's very possible. Since that's the case, don't just stand there. Let's attack this boy. At this moment, the people from the various kingdoms all mocked and said disdainfully. Seeing everyone's expressions, Emo Chinyun revealed a trace of sympathy and unconsciously shook his head. These people were about to die, but they didn't know at all. How pitiful. However, what Emo Chinyun did not expect was that after he shook his head, those people once again laughed coldly. Did you see that? This boy is shaking his head. Is he begging for mercy? Haha, I thought this boy didn't know fear. So he's scared to this extent. Boy, no matter how scared you are, I won't let you go. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for taking something you shouldn't have. At this moment, everyone sneered again, and each of them revealed a complacent expression. Seeing everyone's reaction, the sympathy on Emo Chinyun's face unconsciously deepened. Looking sympathetically at the crowd, Emo Chinyun revealed a playful smile and said, Do you want to know what kind of treasure we found in the 9 temples? Brat, what kind of treasure did you get? Take it out and let us see. Hearing Emo Chinyun's words, everyone's eyes lit up and they urged Emo Chinyun. Hearing everyone's words, Emo Chinyun let out a mocking look. Scanning everyone before him, he slowly took out one treasure after another. Not long after, everyone immediately screamed as if they had gone mad. This is a 500-year-old Yanghe white spirit grass and an 800-year-old deer blood 1000 mountain fruit. That's a mid-grade artifact, the Flaming Sun Armor, and a mid-grade artifact, the Crimson Blood Universe Sword, 5th grade elixir, True Origin Whirlpool Elixir, and 6th grade elixir, Jade Sun Flame Elixir, Earth grade high-tier martial skill, Fire Dragon Seal, and Heaven grade martial skill, Sun Incinerating Mountain Splitting Saber. Aren't these the martial skills that the brat used? So this kid has found so many good treasures in the 9 palaces' hidden treasure. At this moment, screams rose and fell. Everyone was like a country bumpkin entering a city, constantly exclaiming in shock. Brat, what else did you get? Take it all out and let us see. At this moment, everyone was impatient and urged Emo Chinyun. They all wanted to see what other treasures Emo Chinyun had obtained. Hearing these urging words, the smile on Emo Chinyun's face widened. He sneered and said, There's something else that will send you to hell. The treasure of the 9 temples, the 9 temples formation disc. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the surrounding people's faces immediately darkened. The greed in their hearts could no longer be suppressed. Brat, you're courting death. Looks like we've been too merciful. We wanted to let you live a little longer. Since you don't cherish it, don't blame us. Brat, wait until I kill you and get your cosmos bag. These treasures will all be mine. I'll slowly admire them, haha. Immediately after, the crowd attacked Emo Qingyun, wanting to snatch away his treasures. However, when they attacked Emo Qingyun immediately smiled coldly, his eyes revealing a strong sense of mockery. Minor 5 elements star formation. At this moment, when the crowd attacked Emo Qingyun's right hand pointed at the 9 temples formation disc. Then, a light screen flew out from the 9 temples formation disc. As soon as this light screen flew out, it enveloped Emo Qingyun's group of 5, protecting them. Formation. Seeing this, the surrounding people's expressions changed. They were somewhat surprised by the scene before them. However, after being stunned for a short while, someone immediately sneered disdainfully. Brat, do you think a broken formation can withstand the attacks of so many of us? Everyone, stop talking nonsense. Let's attack together to break this formation and then divide the treasures. That's right. I'm still waiting to get the sacrificial blood Qiankuan sword. And my heaven-grade martial skill, sun-incinerating mountain-splitting saber. With this heaven-grade martial skill, I'll be invincible against those of the same level. All of a sudden, the crowd began to urge Qin Nan to hurry up. Then, the crowd attacked the minor 5 elements star formation madly, intending to break it forcefully. Wind-breaking slash, hungry wolf sky howl, 30-foot sky-breaking staff, poison-grinding wheel. In an instant, various martial skills were released from the crowd, crazily attacking the minor 5 elements star formation. Bang bang bang, under the frenzied attacks of the crowd, it suddenly felt as if they were setting off firecrackers during the Lunar New Year. Seeing the crowd's actions, Lu Fengliang and the others frowned and asked Emo Qingyun worriedly, Brother Emo, can this formation really hold? Brother Lu, you don't have to worry. With their abilities, they can't break this formation. Hearing Lu Fengliang's worried words, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and comforted them. After replying to Lu Fengliang and the others, Emo Qingyun sneered and said coldly, You're done. It's my turn now. As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, his hands moved one after another, forming a series of complicated hand seals and sending them into the formation plate of the 9 temples. Burning Heavens Descending Formation, activate. Under Emo Qingyun's hands, a red stream of light immediately flew out from the formation plate of the 9 temples. It rapidly turned into a red light screen, enveloping everyone inside. After being enveloped by this red light screen, the color of the world was instantly dyed red, and the air became somewhat hot. At this moment, it was as if the world was about to burn, and the end of the world had arrived. After seeing this scene, everyone's expression changed, and some worry emerged in their hearts. Formation. It's another formation. This kid must have set up some powerful formation. What should we do? This kid can't be planning to use a formation to deal with us, right? This formation is so terrifying. If it attacks us later, will we be able to withstand it? Could it be that what you said just now was true? He's really going to start a massacre. Hiss, what should we do? At this moment, everyone had lost their previous awe-inspiring aura. Their expressions were tense, and their faces were filled with panic. Boom boom boom. At this moment, while everyone was panicking, huge fireballs gradually condensed in the air, emitting a terrifying aura. When these fireballs appeared, everyone's expressions twitched, and their faces turned ashen. The aura of each fireball was comparable to the full force attack of an advanced true energy realm cultivator. This was definitely not something they could withstand. What kind of formation is this? This kid is really planning to use a formation to deal with us. Big brother, I was wrong. Please give me a chance. Don't use a formation to kill me. Big brother, as long as you let me go, I'll do anything for you. I'll even be your dog. I don't want to die. I'm a prince of the Matu kingdom. I have a lot of glory and wealth to enjoy. I don't want to die here. I don't want to live anymore. At this moment, everyone's faces were pale, and their hearts were trembling as they begged Mo Qingyun for mercy. Some of those who were not in a good mood directly committed suicide under this oppressive atmosphere. How is this possible? How could this kid activate such a terrifying formation? At this moment, not only were the people from the various kingdoms shocked, but even Eagle Peak and the others were shocked. They could not believe this outcome. A few minutes ago they had been arrogant and high-spirited, but in the blink of an eye, they had become stray dogs, waiting for death to descend upon them. This huge contrast made them feel as if a large rock was pressing down on their hearts. It was as disgusting and bitter as eating a fly. No way. How could Mo Qingyun have such ability? He should have died under our schemes. Seeing that they were in such a desperate situation, the remaining members of the Du family all had crazed expressions on their faces. Their plan had mostly succeeded, and everything was going according to plan. Now they were just one step away. However, at this crucial moment, such an unforeseen event had occurred, and the situation had taken a 180-degree turn. They were unable to accept such an outcome. Bang 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 at this moment, when everyone was filled with despair, helplessness, and fear, the fireballs in the air suddenly exploded and fell from the sky. Following this, huge fireballs fell from the sky, bringing with them a destructive wave of heat as they smashed towards the people below. Bang! 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 When the fireball landed, it immediately exploded, releasing a terrifying heat wave that swept out in all directions, engulfing everything. Big brother, save me! Your Highness, save me! I don't want to die. At this moment, all sorts of despairing words came from the mouths of the crowd, but before they could finish speaking, they were mercilessly swallowed by the flames. Once swallowed by the flames, these people were burned to ashes in the blink of an eye. Not even a trace of them could be found. In just a few moments, countless people had died. Of the originally several thousand people, only 30% had died. How could this be? Seeing the people around him being swallowed by the flames one after another, Eagle Peak's face went crazy. He cried out in shock, "No! I don't want to die. Yes, I have the ancestors' life-saving jade talisman. I can't die here." With this thought, Eagle Peak took out a jade talisman and crushed it. Following this, the jade talisman released a ball of light that enveloped Eagle Peak and carried him out of the descending flame formation. Brat, I, Eagle Peak, will remember today's grudge. In the future, I will repay you tenfold. When Ing Feng left the burning flame heaven's descending formation, he had a ferocious expression on his face as he spoke to Mo Qingyun. Prince Eagle Peak, don't leave us behind. Brother Eagle Peak, take me with you. Seeing Eagle Peak leave, the Eagle Kingdom's people were filled with despair as they shouted at Eagle Peak. Chapter 224. Oh, a space travel talisman. Eagle Peak actually has something like that. Mo Qingyun was shocked to see Eagle Peak escape from the descending flame formation with the help of the talisman. He was surprised that Eagle Peak had such a trump card. After a short pause, Mo Qingyun's face darkened. It seems like Eagle Peak has some background, he thought. Although Ing Feng had managed to escape, Mo Qingyun didn't care too much about it. To him, killing Ing Feng was just a matter of killing one more person or one less person. After a short pause, Mo Qingyun turned his gaze to the descending flame formation and sized up the people in front of him. At this moment, the inside of the burning flame descending heavens formation was almost like hell on earth. Terrifying flames surged everywhere. People were constantly being devoured by these flames and burned to ashes in the blink of an eye. Now, in the entire burning flame descending formation, only the minor 5 elements star formation was left, the only pure land left. Ling Luo and the others who were inside the minor 5 elements star formation were stunned as they looked at the people who were being massacred outside the formation. They had never imagined that Mo Qingyun would be able to activate such a terrifying formation. The power of this formation was simply too frightening. A few minutes later, there was not a single person left alive in the descending flame formation. Ling Luo and the others' faces twitched when they saw this, and their hearts trembled. Brother Liang, I'm not seeing things right? There's not a single person left alive in the formation. It seems like it's true. Brother Mo killed everyone. Brother Mo, he can actually use the 9 temples formation disc to such an extent. His talent in formations is simply too great. In just a few days, he was able to master the 9 temples formation disc so skillfully. It seems like only in Brother Mo's hands will the 9 temples formation disc not be neglected. Qingyun is so cruel. He killed so many people in one go. At this moment, Lu Fengliang and the others were dumbfounded. Their expressions became numb, unable to believe that this was real. In just a short moment, thousands of true element boundary cultivators had been slaughtered. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed that Mo Qingyun was the one who did it. At this moment, Lu Fengliang and the others finally understood what Mo Qingyun was referring to when he said that he would go on a killing spree. Compared to the shock of Lu Fengliang and the others, the people outside the burning sky descending array were so frightened that they could barely take care of themselves. A foul stench spread out from their bodies. However, they had already completely lost their senses at this moment. Just now, what did they see? What they saw was a living hell. Thousands of people were burned to ashes by the endless flames in a short period of time. Not even a trace of them was left. Perhaps they had never even dreamed of such an outcome. Originally, they had all come here in high spirits, wanting to reap the benefits of the fishermen and fish in troubled waters. They had never imagined that things would end up this way. Not only had they not reaped any benefits, but they had all been like lambs in a tiger's den. In the end, not even a trace of them was left. At this moment, the people who had stayed behind were somewhat envious of those who had left decisively. At the very least, those who had left before hadn't seen this scene. Such a nightmarish scene wouldn't be left in their hearts. All dead. All dead. After a while, someone uttered these words in a daze while looking at the burning sky descending array with a numb expression. After hearing these words, the faces of the people around regained some color. They regained some consciousness, but they still had lingering fears. Are we really here to snatch the treasure? No. We're not here to snatch the treasure. We're here to die. That guy is simply a devil. He's even more terrifying than Demon. That's right. He's a devil. A devil even more terrifying than Demon. He's even more terrifying than Chui Wei. Let's hurry up and leave. Otherwise, if he comes out of the array and Roy makes a move on us, we'll be finished. After uttering these words of terror, they didn't dare to stay any longer and immediately left the scene. As the people around them left, Mo Qingyun lifted his hands and made a series of hand seals that he sent into the 9 temples array disc. Burning sky descending array, withdraw. After Mo Qingyun sent his hand seals into the 9 temples array disc, the burning sky descending array in mid-air slowly shrank and was finally absorbed into the 9 temples array disc. As the burning sky descending array was absorbed by Mo Qingyun, the surrounding flames gradually dissipated and disappeared without a trace. However, the people who had been killed no longer appeared. They had truly disappeared from the world. After withdrawing the burning sky descending array, Mo Qingyun also absorbed the minor 5 elements star array into the 9 temples array disc. After absorbing the 2 arrays into the 9 temples array disc, Mo Qingyun moved and started collecting the surrounding Qiankuan bags. The collection of thousands of people was a considerable amount of wealth. He couldn't let it go to waste. Let's go. After doing all this, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and called out to the dazed Lu Fengliang and the others. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lu Fengliang and the others were stunned and responded absent-mindedly. At this moment, Lu Fengliang and the others looked at Mo Qingyun with reverence. It couldn't be helped. Anyone who had witnessed that scene would feel some lingering fear. Upon seeing the expressions of Lu Fengliang and the others, Mo Qingyun felt a little depressed. He shook his head and smiled bitterly. What's wrong with you guys? Why do you act like you don't recognize me? Who asked you to be so savage? When she heard Mo Qingyun's words, Ruoshui, who rarely spoke, pouted and muttered softly to herself. Upon hearing Ruoshui's words, Mo Qingyun smiled bitterly. He didn't know what to say. In the situation just now, if he didn't kill them, they would have killed them. Immediately, Mo Qingyun shrugged his shoulders at Ling Luo and the others. He smiled helplessly and gestured to them before turning around and walking forward. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun get up and walk forward, Long Yutian and the others didn't hesitate and hurriedly followed behind Mo Qingyun. Perhaps because of his personality, Ling Luo soon returned to his normal self. He smiled at Mo Qingyun and said, "Boss, where are we going next?" Upon hearing Ling Luo's words, Mo Qingyun thought for a moment. He looked at Ling Luo playfully and smiled faintly. "Last time, because of Lei Hong, we couldn't go to Pink City. How about we go to Pink City now?" Pink City. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Ling Luo's eyes immediately lit up. His expression became ambiguous as he said excitedly, "Boss, we really have telepathy. I was just about to tell you this. I'm not bragging, but the skin of the girls in Pink City, TSK Tisk." Ling Luo had started again. Following that, Ling Luo began to talk non-stop, describing how good the girls in Pink City were. Upon hearing Ling Luo's words, Long Yutian's face immediately twitched. He took the wine jug and hid far away. He clearly remembered that when he first met Ling Luo had destroyed his soul and almost made him lose interest in women. As for Lu Fengliang, who didn't like to talk, he didn't pay much attention to Ling Luo's words. His expression remained indifferent. However, after hearing this, Ruo Shui frowned and glared fiercely at Mo Qingyun and Ling Luo. She said angrily, "Vulgar, all men are bad." Following that, Ruo Shui turned around and gave Mo Qingyun and the others a cold view of her back. Long Yutian and Lu Fengliang were also caught in the crossfire. Seeing this, Long Yutian and Lu Fengliang were depressed. They were innocent. Seeing Ruo Shui's actions, Mo Qingyun and the others laughed awkwardly. They didn't want to continue the previous topic. However, Ling Luo was in high spirits and wouldn't stop there. Seeing that Mo Qingyun and Lu Fengliang didn't say anything, he turned to look at Long Yutian. In Ling Luo's opinion, among Mo Qingyun and the others, Long Yutian was the most suitable person to talk to. Most importantly, he had already talked to Long Yutian once. The first time was unfamiliar, the second time was familiar. Just like that, for the rest of the journey, Long Yutian once again fell into the same torment. He kept lowering his head and looking at Mo Qingyun and the others for help. Seeing Long Yutian's expression, Mo Qingyun and the others smiled faintly. They didn't help Long Yutian out of his predicament. They only gave him an encouraging look. Seeing this, Long Yutian suddenly became depressed. He pulled a long face and looked listless. Since they weren't in a hurry to get there, Mo Qingyun and the others just strolled along the way. By the time Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at Pink City, 3 days had already passed. "You guys stop right there." At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun and the others were about to enter Pink City, a short young man blocked their path. Seeing that their path was blocked, Mo Qingyun was stunned. He sized up the short young man and asked, "What's the matter?" Hearing Emochinyan's question, the short young man raised his head and said arrogantly, "Kid, if you know what's good for you, you'd better hand over your cosmos bag." Blocking the way to Rob? Hearing the short young man's words, Emochinyan and the others' expressions changed. They understood the other party's intention. Then, Emochinyan and the others smiled playfully and sized up the other party with interest. This guy's cultivation wasn't at LV3 True Energy Realm, and he didn't look impressive. How dare he rob several LV5 True Energy Realm cultivators on their side? This brat's guts were really quite big. After a short silence, Ling Luo looked at the other party with disdain and curled his lips. "Kid, how dare you block the way to rob someone with your looks? Did you eat too much fake milk powder when you were young? Is your brain fried? Kid, watch your mouth. Out of the 5 of you, you're the one I hate the most." Hearing Ling Luo's words, the short young man's face darkened. He said rudely to Ling Luo and threatened, "If you piss me off, I'll teach you a lesson." This guy was really arrogant. Seeing the short young man's actions, Emochinyan and the others' expressions changed again. They were really surprised by his behavior. "Do you know who I am?" Just as Emochinyan and the others were puzzled, the short young man patted his chest and pointed at his eyes. "Sense my cultivation and look at my eyes. Now you know who I am, right? You're just a LV3 True Energy Realm cultivator with purple eyes." "So what?" Ling Luo's expression changed halfway through his words. He subconsciously looked at Emochinyan, who was beside him. At this moment, not only did Ling Luo understand, but Emochinyan and the others also understood the true meaning of the short young man's words. For a moment, they didn't know what to say. After all this time, this guy was actually Emochinyan. "Now you know who I am." Seeing Emochinyan and the others' stunned expressions, the short young man thought that Emochinyan and the others were afraid. He immediately revealed a proud expression and laughed. "You guessed right. I'm the Purple Eye. Now you're afraid, right?" The Purple Eye. Hearing the short young man's words, Emochinyan and the others were stunned again. They didn't expect the short young man to give himself such a domineering nickname. At this moment, Emochinyan and the others were speechless. For a moment, they didn't know how to respond. Chapter 225. Pft. After a short moment of silence, Ling Luo suddenly burst into laughter. He held his stomach and laughed. "Boss, I'm sorry. I really couldn't hold it in." At that moment, it was not only Ling Luo who was unable to restrain himself from laughing. Emochinyan and the others who were by the side also revealed expressions of laughter. They were really amused by this short young man. Seeing Emochinyan and the others, the short young man's face immediately darkened. He pretended to scold them. "What are you laughing about? Hurry up and hand over your cosmos bags. Do you want to die?" Hearing this, Emochinyan looked at him with a faint smile and asked, "You're the Purple Eye?" "That's right." The short young man raised his head and showed an arrogant expression. He said domineeringly, "I'm the Purple Eye. A few days ago, outside the secret treasure of the 9 temples, I exuded a domineering aura. I raised my hand to draw an array and single-handedly killed thousands of warriors." The short young man paused and said, "Kid, let me tell you. My patience is limited. If you push me too far, I'll use my array to fix you. My array is very powerful. My array formation is very powerful." At this moment, not only Ling Luo could not hold it in, but even Long Yutian spat out the wine in his mouth. He then coughed and said, "Cough, cough, cough. I can't take it either." This short young man was too pretentious. At this moment, when everyone was laughing, Emochinyan smiled playfully and said to the short young man, "Did you know that the Purple Eye has 4 friends? They are 3 handsome guys and 1 beautiful girl, just like me. There are 3 handsome men and a beautiful woman beside the purple-eyed devil monarch? Why didn't anyone tell me?" Upon hearing Emochinyan's words, The short youth immediately revealed a puzzled expression and began to ponder. Then, the short young man's eyes lit up. He looked at Emo Chingyun and mocked, "Boy, so you're also pretending to be the purple eye. But you're too unprofessional. You didn't even fake the purple eye's biggest feature. What a failure. So you're also pretending to be the purple eye." Hearing the short youth's words, Emo Chingyun and the others were stunned. They were surprised by the short youth's words. This guy actually said that Emo Chingyun was unprofessional and that his disguise was a failure. At this moment, Long Yutian and the others didn't know what to say. Should they say that he was stupid or naive? After being stunned for a short while, Emo Chingyun smiled again and said to the short young man, "The purple pupils you mentioned, are they like this?" As Emo Chingyun spoke, a ray of purple light flashed in his eyes and emitted a sharp aura. Purple. Purple eye. At this moment the short youth was stunned. He could not believe his eyes and said in shock, You're really the purple eye. It's the real deal." At this moment, such a thought appeared in the short young man's mind. Even if he was stupid, he knew that the young man in front of him was the purple eye. He actually said that he was an impostor in front of the purple eye. Moreover, he even said that the impostor was very professional. At this moment, the short youth's mind went blank. He looked at Emo Chingyun in horror and was speechless for a long time. He was scared out of his wits. He had heard from others that the purple eye was extremely cruel and that he was a demon who killed without batting an eyelid. Now that he was acting tough in front of the purple eye, he was dead meat. Thinking of this, the short young man's face twitched, and he begged for mercy in horror. "Lord Devil King, please don't kill me. I only pretended to be you because I admire you. I didn't mean to offend you," impersonated you because he admired you. "Let's go." Looking at the short youth, Emo Chingyun did not want to argue with him. He gestured to Long Yutian and the others beside him and walked forward. Hearing Emo Chingyun's words, Ling Luo and the others quickly followed. However, when Ling Luo walked past the short young man, he smiled faintly. He patted his shoulder and said, "Young man, I hope that you will be more professional the next time you pretend to be someone else. At the very least, you should find a few extras to fill up the numbers." "Ride a horse?" Hearing Ling Luo's words, the short youth was confused and muttered to himself, "Do I have to find a horse first?" Hearing the short youth's words, Emo Chingyun and the others smiled bitterly and did not know what to say. This guy was so silly that he was adorable. More importantly, with his IQ, he was actually able to rob people on the road. Wasn't the requirement to enter this line of work too low? After a short moment of helplessness, Emo Chingyun and the others shook their heads and ignored the short youth. However, after the short youth's antics, Emo Chingyun and the others felt much better. It was also because of this that Emo Chingyun did not kill the short youth and spared his life. If the short young man knew that he was able to survive because of his stupidity, he would probably say, "This is called fortune favors fools." After a while, Emo Chingyun and the others walked into Pink City. "Out of the way, out of the way!" At this moment, as Emo Chingyun and the others walked into Pink City, several armored guards with arrogant expressions pushed through the crowd and arrived in front of a bulletin board. After the guards arrived at the bulletin board, they pasted a wanted poster onto the bulletin board. On this wanted poster, there were a total of 5 heads. They were Emo Chingyun and the others. "We're wanted?" After seeing this, Emo Chingyun and the others' expressions changed. They were a little surprised. 100 countries wanted poster. Villain Lu Fengliang, inform us of your whereabouts and you will be rewarded with 2 million spirit essence stones. If you are apprehended, you will be rewarded with 1 billion spirit essence stones. Villain Emo Chingyun, inform us of your whereabouts and you will be rewarded with 1 million spirit essence stones. If you are apprehended, you will be rewarded with 500 million spirit essence stones. Villain Long Yutian, Inform us of your whereabouts and you will be rewarded with 200,000 spirit essence stones. If you are apprehended, you will be rewarded with 30 million spirit essence stones. Villain Ruashue, inform us of your whereabouts and you will be rewarded with 200,000 spirit essence stones. If you are apprehended, you will be rewarded with 30 million spirit essence stones. Sword Kingdom's 9th Prince Ling Luo, inform us of your whereabouts and you will be rewarded with 100,000 spirit essence stones. If you are brought to Sword Kingdom, you will be greatly rewarded and be conferred a noble title. Seeing the message on the bulletin board, Ling Luo's expression suddenly changed. He was surprised and puzzled. Big Brother Liang's bounty is actually more than the boss. How strange. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun's reputation was the greatest, so he should have the most bounty. Something really isn't right. Hearing Ling Luo's words, Long Yutian and Ruashue's expressions changed. They were puzzled and puzzled. Let's go. At this moment, as Long Yutian and the others were puzzled, Lu Fengliang's complexion immediately turned cold and indifferent. He said to Mo Qingyun and the others and then turned to leave. Lu Fengliang had something on his mind? Seeing Lu Fengliang's abnormal behavior, Mo Qingyun and the others immediately had this thought. From the current situation, Lu Fengliang's abnormal mood should have something to do with this bulletin board. However, Mo Qingyun saw that Lu Fengliang didn't want to say anything, so they didn't ask. After all, they weren't the type of people who liked to pry into other people's private matters. After Mo Qingyun and the others left, they found a hotel and walked in. They found a relatively quiet place to sit down. At this moment, what surprised Mo Qingyun was that there was actually someone telling a story in this hotel. In front of a chopping board, a youth in linen clothes was talking non-stop. That day, outside the hidden treasure of the 9 temples, the Purple Eye was besieged by thousands of experts. He was already on the verge of death. At this moment, a dark cloud suddenly covered the heavens and descended from the sky. It poured into the Purple Eye's body, and then, the Purple Eye seemed to be possessed by a demon god. His entire body suddenly expanded and became a giant hundreds of feet tall, an ancient demon king. At this moment, the storyteller stopped, picked up the gavel in his hand, and knocked it. Bang! As the gavel clanged, the storyteller cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for the honor, everyone. That's all for today. If you want to know what happened next, you are welcome to come again." Heavenly Sutra Pavilion, to talk about the legends of the world and the great deeds of the world's kings. As soon as they heard the storyteller's words, the surrounding people immediately showed their dissatisfaction and started to protest. Damn, he didn't say anything at the crucial moment. Is he trying to stifle us to death? Hurry up and tell us, what happened to the Purple Eye after that? Was he possessed by a demon king? Did he go on a killing spree? That can't be right. I heard from others that the Purple Eye is an expert in formations. He uses formations to kill people. For a moment, the surrounding area immediately became noisy. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun revealed a helpless expression and shook his head with a bitter smile. He did not know what to say. It seemed that the rumors were getting more and more ridiculous. He did not know what they had become. Humph! What bullshit, the Purple Eye! At this moment, as soon as the storyteller finished speaking, a youth with a disdainful expression snorted coldly and said, "He better not let me meet him. Otherwise, I don't mind adding another soul to my crimson blood spear." Hearing that person's words, Ling Luo's expression immediately turned gloomy. He glared at that person and said coldly, "A wild dog is not afraid of farting. If you were to meet the purple-eyed demon monarch, I'm afraid that you wouldn't even be able to fart." Hearing Ling Luo's words, the young man's face sank. His gaze was cold as he looked at Ling Luo. In a cold voice, he said, "Brat, if you come over and kowtow and admit your mistake, then kneel down and slap yourself 1,000 times, and say 100 times that the purple-eyed devil monarch is dog shit, I can spare your dog life." Hearing this youth's words, Ling Luo's expression became even more disdainful. He mocked the youth. "You're just a stinking wild dog. You think you're worthy of ordering me around? You're courting death. Since you're tired of living, I'll fulfill your wish." Chapter 226. Blood Dragon emerges from its cave. The long spear in the young man's hand released a terrifying fluctuation of origin energy that was suffused with a bloody aura and dragon's might. After the bloody aura and dragon's might appeared, a violent origin energy gushed out from the long spear and transformed into a huge blood dragon shadow. Roar. Once the flood dragon's shadow was formed, it let out a low and deep dragon roar. It twisted its huge body and charged toward Ling Luo at an extremely fast speed. Bang bang bang, under the blood dragon shadow's movement, the surrounding tables and chairs were directly smashed into pieces, producing a series of muffled sounds. After witnessing this scene, the surrounding people's expressions instantly changed as they looked at the young man with reverence. At the same time, at this moment, some people recognized the young man's identity. This young man is Zhu Feng, the blood spear Zhu Feng of the Spear Kingdom, ranked 10th in the 10 Kingdoms. What? He's Zhu Feng? It's said that with his cultivation at the 7th level of the True Energy Realm, he single-handedly killed 3 9th-level True Energy Realm demonic beasts. His strength is extremely abnormal. Not only that, it's said that the long spear in his hand is an upper-grade treasure weapon that contains a drop of ancient blood dragon. Zhu Feng is so powerful. It seems like the kid who talked back to him is finished. It's not just the kid who's finished. The few people around him will all be finished soon. After recognizing Zhu Feng's identity, the surrounding people immediately whispered to each other as they looked at Mo Qingyun and the others with sympathy. Seeing that Zhu Feng attacked without hesitation, Ling Luo's expression involuntarily changed as his expression became tense. From the combat strength that Zhu Feng displayed at this moment, the difference in strength between him and Zhu Feng was not small. Zhu Feng was not someone that he could fight against. Fire Dragon Seal. Seeing that Zhu Feng was charging towards Ling Luo, Mo Qingyun's expression darkened. He raised his hand and activated the Fire Dragon Seal, condensing it into a flaming shield that blasted towards the Blood Dragon shadow. Once the flaming shield was formed, it released a shocking flame energy that suppressed the Blood Dragon with a force that could burn the sky. Bang! Not long after, the Blood Dragon shadow collided with the flame shield, making a loud noise. A dazzling light burst out from the shield, like a small sun. At the same time, a shocking wave of yuan power erupted from the dazzling light, crazily sweeping towards the surroundings. Bang! Under this wave of elemental energy, the entire roof of the hotel was directly blown off, causing the hotel to become a mess. After seeing this scene, the hotel owner immediately revealed a bitter expression, but he didn't dare to express any dissatisfaction. There was nothing he could do. Mo Qingyun and Zhu Feng were not people he could afford to offend. This young man is also very powerful. He actually easily received Zhu Feng's spear. Seeing Mo Qingyun make a move, the surrounding people were shocked. They were surprised by Mo Qingyun's battle prowess. This young man looks familiar, as if I've seen him somewhere before. As soon as the person in front finished speaking, someone immediately said doubtfully, with an excited expression, I know who he is. Hearing this person's words, the surrounding people immediately showed curiosity and asked him one after another. Quickly say, who is this young man? With this young man's battle prowess, he is definitely not a nobody. He is the Purple Eye Mo Qingyun. I recognize his signature martial skill, Fire Dragon Seal. It is the martial skill he just used. What? He is the Purple Eye who single-handedly killed thousands of True Energy Realm martial artists outside the 9 Temples' secret treasure? It is actually the Purple Eye. In this case, Zhu Feng is in some trouble this time. The purple eye is not someone to be trifled with. As Mo Qingyun's identity was recognized, the surrounding people's expressions immediately became interesting. Each of their faces revealed a strong sense of anticipation. Two tigers fighting, this kind of scene was not easy to see. They really wanted to see who would have the last laugh in the fight between Mo Qingyun and Zhu Feng. After hearing the surrounding people's words, Zhu Feng's expression changed, revealing a strong sense of surprise. He did not expect that the young man in front of him was actually the purple eye he was looking for. However, after a short moment of surprise, Zhu Feng looked at Mo Qingyun with a sneer and said, "So you are the purple eye. I was worried that I would not be able to find you. I did not expect you to deliver yourself to me. Now I will kill you all. The bounty for the 5 of you is not small. I am afraid that you have the ability." Hearing Zhu Feng's words, Mo Qingyun looked at him with a calm face and replied indifferently, "Previously, many people wanted to kill me. In the end, they all died at my hand. You will not be an exception." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhu Feng's face darkened. He said coldly, "You dare to compare me with those trash. In this case, you are destined to suffer a tragedy today. Actually, in my eyes, there is no difference between you and those people." Hearing Zhu Feng's words, Mo Qingyun's face was still indifferent. He replied indifferently, "As for the bounty, you are not qualified to get it." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhu Feng's face immediately became gloomy. He said with a gloomy expression, "There is no point in competing with words. Since you are so confident, let's see who is the real deal." Crimson Blood Dragon, appear. After Zhu Feng's words, he directly summoned his martial soul. He planned to fight with Mo Qingyun in his strongest state. From the looks of it, he was still very wary of Mo Qingyun's strength. He wasn't as relaxed as he made himself out to be. Crimson Blood Dragon slaying dragon. After summoning his martial soul, Zhu Feng no longer hesitated and used his martial soul super ability. Then, Zhu Feng's body rushed out. With an irresistible force, he rushed towards Mo Qingyun. At this moment, after Zhu Feng stabbed out with his spear, his body immediately emitted a dense blood qi. It made people feel that he was a dragon. Zhu Feng is so strong. Under the aura of his martial soul super ability, I feel that my blood flow has slowed down. Even my breathing has become difficult. No wonder Zhu Feng could kill a true element realm LV9 demonic beast. With his current combat strength, he can even fight a demonic beast that is half a step away from Yuan Dan realm. In this case, the purple eye is in a dangerous situation. After all, those people who went to kill him are not as strong as Zhu Feng. Seeing Zhu Feng make a move, the surrounding people's expressions immediately changed. They could not help but feel worried for Mo Qingyun. However, while the crowd was worried, Mo Qingyun's face was still calm. He slowly took out the red silk saber. When he took out the red silk saber, Mo Qingyun's body immediately emitted a mysterious aura. It was as if his entire body was connected with the heavens and the earth. This was the saber aura, the power of the heavens and the earth. Not only that, when Mo Qingyun took out the red silk saber, a huge red dragon shadow appeared above him. This was the Scarlet Flame Dragon Martial Soul. When the Scarlet Flame Dragon Martial Soul was summoned, Mo Qingyun's aura rapidly increased. In the blink of an eye, Mo Qingyun's aura reached the level of a true element realm LV6. At this moment, when Mo Qingyun's aura increased, a powerful flame energy appeared around his body. When this flame energy appeared, a few meters around Mo Qingyun's body formed a firestorm. At this moment, Mo Qingyun released the level 3 fire ultimacy without holding back. As the third level fire profound meaning was released, some of the tables and chairs around Mo Qingyun immediately burst into flames, churning restlessly. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people's expressions immediately changed. They were all horrified. So strong. The purple eye's aura is even stronger than Zhu Feng's. It's violent and domineering. It seems that the news we heard was not accurate. The purple eye's strength is not just because of his demonic eye. Fortunately, we did not provoke him just now. Otherwise, we would be in trouble. Don't forget that the purple eye's most powerful skill is the array. He has not used the array yet. He's already so powerful without using the formation. How powerful would he be if he used the power of the formation? Hiss, at this moment, after witnessing Mo Qingyun's strength, everyone was in awe and their hearts trembled. While everyone was still in shock, Mo Qingyun finally made his move. Sun incinerating mountain splitting saber, as Mo Qingyun's saber fell, a terrifying flame burst out from the fiery silk saber in his hand and enveloped the entire fiery silk saber. Roar! Then, a 20-meter-long fiery dragon saber radiance burst out from the fiery silk saber. It waved its dragon claws and pounced on the flood dragon spear shadow. Ting ting ting, as soon as the fiery dragon saber radiance appeared, a violent flame energy surged and ignited everything around it, turning it into a sea of flames. Bang! Then, under everyone's gaze, the fiery dragon saber radiance and the flood dragon spear shadow clashed together. A loud sound was heard as the dragon aura spread out. Chi chi chi. When the two dragons collided, the flood dragon spear shadow was like boiling water meeting hot charcoal. It instantly turned into steam and dissipated between heaven and earth. After the fiery dragon saber radiance dispersed the flood dragon spear shadow, it did not slow down and continued to attack Zhu Feng. Bang! Another muffled sound was heard. When this muffled sound was heard, everyone saw Zhu Feng's body being sent flying by the fiery dragon saber radiance. No, after being hit by the fiery dragon saber radiance, Zhu Feng immediately revealed a painful expression and let out a terrified cry. Puff! Then, Zhu Feng's body fell heavily to the ground. He spat out blood and his body was covered in burn wounds. His aura weakened. Raptor break. Mo Qingyun did not care about Zhu Feng's injury. He moved his body and charged at Zhu Feng again. He raised his saber and slashed at Zhu Feng. After being hit by the fiery dragon saber radiance, Zhu Feng was already at the end of his rope. He could not resist Mo Qingyun's saber. No. Don't kill me. Looking at the approaching saber radiance, Zhu Feng's eyes were about to split open. His expression kept twitching and he was extremely terrified. However, before he could finish speaking, the red silk saber in Mo Qingyun's hand sliced through his body, killing him on the spot. After killing Zhu Feng, Mo Qingyun grabbed Zhu Feng's crimson blood dragon and threw it to Long Yutian. He smiled faintly and said, "Brother Long, catch it. This spear is not bad. It suits me well." After catching the crimson blood spear that Mo Qingyun threw to him, Long Yutian smiled faintly and revealed a satisfied expression. He then kept the crimson blood spear in his Qiankuan bag. When Long Yutian put away the crimson blood spear, a group of people in armor quickly walked over. When these people arrived, the leader of the group walked out and asked coldly, "What's going on?" "Commander, a few people had a conflict in my shop just now." Hearing this person's words, the owner of the hotel had a bitter expression on his face. He walked forward and reported in a low voice. After hearing the old man's report, the leader scanned the crowd. Then, his gaze stopped on Mo Qingyun and the others. He asked coldly, "Is it them?" However, just as the leader finished speaking, he frowned and revealed a look of surprise. He took out a wanted poster and compared it to Mo Qingyun and the others. Chapter 227. Surrender without putting up a fight? Hearing the captain's words, Mo Qingyun looked at him with disdain and said indifferently, "With just you guys?" Mo Qingyun did not plan to keep a low profile when he came to Pink City this time. In his opinion, he wanted to establish his own force in the 100 countries battlefield, and Pink City would be the first stop of his plan. Therefore, he decided to appear in this pink city in the most domineering manner, allowing his prestige to be established in an extremely short period of time. Since you guys refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, don't blame us for being ruthless. Hearing Emochinyan's words, the captain's face darkened and he said coldly, "The purple eye, everyone says how powerful you are, but I, Zhang Tianming, don't believe it. Today, I will let everyone know that the purple eye is just an ant in front of me. All of you, act immediately and take them down." As soon as Zhang Tianming finished speaking, he ordered the 20 guards behind him to take down Long Yutian and the others. After giving the order, Zhang Tianming revealed an arrogant expression. He looked at Emochinyan and sneered, "The purple eye, I will now show you my true strength. In Pink City, no one has made me use my true strength. I hope you won't disappoint me." Hearing Zhang Tianming's words, the surrounding people looked at him as if he was an idiot. What bullshit is this Zhang Tianming's true strength? A guy at True Energy Realm level 5 dares to provoke the purple eye so arrogantly. Idiot, even Zhu Feng couldn't take a hit from the purple eye. He actually wants to show the purple eye his true strength. The reason why he is so arrogant is mainly because he did not see the scene where the purple-eyed demon monarch killed Zhu Feng. Haha, I really want to see what kind of expression he will have when he sees the purple-eyed devil monarch's strength. Of course, he will piss his pants and his legs will go soft. At this moment, the surrounding people revealed looks of disdain as they mocked Zhang Tianming. Zhu Feng. When the surrounding people's words entered Zhang Tianming's ears, Zhang Tianming's face immediately twitched. Fear rose in his heart as he thought, Zhu Feng, could it be the blood spear Zhu Feng of the Spear Kingdom? While Zhang Tianming was panicking, the guards beside him had already started fighting with Long Yutian and the others. You guys came at the right time. Let me familiarize myself with my new weapon. Long Yutian smiled faintly as he looked at the guards charging towards him. He took out the scarlet blood spear and said coldly, "Now, let me use your blood to seal my new weapon, the scarlet blood spear." Heavenly Dragon Elephant Spear, Long Yutian held the crimson blood spear in his hand and spun it behind his back. A fiery wheel of spear shadow swept towards the guards around him. The spear shadow, which was like a wheel of wind and fire, pierced out. It carried the power of a dragon and elephant and blasted towards the guards with a barbaric and violent momentum. Bang! Bang! Under Long Yutian's attack, a few guards were sent flying. Their armor cracked and blood flowed out of their wounds. They were all lying on the ground, breathing heavily. They did not have long to live. Thousand Illusion Ice Sword, Soul-Devouring Demonic Wheel, 10 Direction Spiritual Sword Dance. When Long Yutian attacked, Lu Fangliang and the others did not hesitate and attacked one after another, displaying their powerful combat strength. Under the attacks of Lu Fangliang and the others, the guards were like chickens and dogs. Half of them were killed in an instant. Seeing this scene, Zhang Tianming's face immediately turned pale and a strong sense of fear rose in his heart. Too strong, these guys in front of him were too strong. More importantly, he saw the spear in Long Yutian's hand. It seemed to be Blood Spear Zhu Feng's Scarlet Blood Spear. That's the Scarlet Blood Spear? Zhang Tianming's face immediately twitched. He looked at Emochinyan in horror and asked, The Scarlet Blood Spear, how could it be in his hands? Zhu Feng? Are you talking about that guy just now? Hearing Zhang Tianming's words, Emochinyan's expression changed slightly. He smiled faintly and said, "That guy attacked us just now and was killed by me. This Scarlet Blood Spear naturally became my spoils of war." Spoils of war. Zhu Feng was dead. Hearing Emochinyan's words, Zhang Tianming's face turned even paler and his legs became weak. Zhu Feng was killed by Emochinyan. How could he be Emochinyan's opponent? If that was the case, Emochinyan's terrifying strength was not a rumor, but a real freak. Thinking of this, Zhang Tianming panicked. He smiled apologetically at Emochinyan and said, This, brother, just now was a misunderstanding. I was just joking with you. I hope you don't take it to heart. Joking? Hearing Zhang Tianming's words, the expressions of the surrounding people immediately changed. They felt contempt for him. This guy was a typical case of loud thunder but small raindrop. His arrogant attitude just now was simply insufferably arrogant. But in the blink of an eye, this guy instantly became a coward. Brother? Hearing Zhang Tianming's words, Emo Qingyun looked at him with disdain and said, "You are not worthy of being my brother." Replying Zhang Tianming with disdain, Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He said to Zhang Tianming, "Didn't you say that you, Zhang Tianming, have not fought with your full strength for a long time and wanted me to see your true strength? You hope I won't disappoint you?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Zhang Tianming was speechless. His expression was panicked to the extreme. He did not know how to answer Emo Qingyun. How could he know that Emo Qingyun's strength would be so terrifying? Even a powerful person like Zhu Feng was killed by him. One had to know that Zhu Feng's strength was enough to destroy the entire Pink City. Such a powerful person was not someone Zhang Tianming could compare to. No matter how powerful Zhang Tianming was, he could only be a little arrogant in a small city like Pink City. If he had known earlier, he would not have dared to be arrogant in front of Emo Qingyun even if he had 10,000 guts. "Since you have nothing to say, let me send you on your way." Seeing that Zhang Tianming was silent for a long time, Emo Qingyun did not have the patience to dawdle with him. He raised his hand and took out the red silk saber and slashed at Zhang Tianming. When Emo Qingyun slashed with his saber, his body released the third-level fire esoteric power and a mysterious aura. Don't kill me." Feeling the horrifying aura on Emo Qingyun's body, Zhang Tianming's expression immediately twitched. He said with a look of horror, You can't kill me. My big brother is Pink City's deputy city lord, Zhang Tianji. If you kill me, my big brother won't let you off." "So what if he's the deputy city lord?" Hearing Zhang Tianming's words, Emo Qingyun glanced at him with disdain and said coldly, "Don't mention that your big brother is just a vice city lord. Even if your big brother was the true city lord, he wouldn't be able to save you today." After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he waved the red silk saber in his hand without hesitation and decisively slashed at Zhang Tianming. When the red silk saber slashed down, it released a shocking saber light. It was like a violent flood that rushed towards Zhang Tianming. Clear-heart swordsmanship, facing Emo Qingyun's slash, Zhang Tianming did not dare to hesitate and immediately counterattacked. Then, Zhang Tianming slashed with his sword. The long sword in his hand released a weak saber light. This saber light was so weak that it could not even be compared to the full-force attack of a level 3 true energy realm martial artist. This scene surprised Emo Qingyun. Zhang Tianming dared to be so arrogant with this little ability. When the saber light and the sword light collided, the sword light was immediately devoured by the saber light and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Bang! Then, the fire dragon saber light slammed into Zhang Tianming's body and sent him flying. Pooh! After Zhang Tianming landed on the ground, he spat out a mouthful of blood and his face became extremely pale. How did this happen? Seeing that he had been underestimated and defeated, Zhang Tianming's face was filled with disbelief. He said in shock, "When the guards fought with me, they clearly said that my sword energy was extremely powerful and that I could even fight against a level 8 true energy realm martial artist. How did I lose in the first exchange?" He could fight against a level 8 true energy realm martial artist. Hearing Zhang Tianming's words, Emo Qingyun shook his head helplessly and looked at Zhang Tianming sympathetically. He understood the reason for Zhang Tianming's arrogance. Presumably, it was because of Zhang Tianming's identity as the elder brother that some of the guards would purposely let him win when they sparred with him. Moreover, after deliberately losing, they would still brag about Zhang Tianming's strength, causing Zhang Tianming's self-confidence to explode. The funny thing was that Zhang Tianming actually believed it to be true and was even proud of it. It was really sad. Looking at Zhang Tianming sympathetically, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He raised his saber and ended Zhang Tianming's life. "Boss, it's all done." When Mo Qingyun killed Zhang Tianming, Ling Luo and the rest also finished off the guards and came to Mo Qingyun's side. "Let's go to the mayor's mansion." Seeing that Ling Luo and the rest had arrived, Mo Qingyun instructed them and stood up to walk forward. "Go to the mayor's mansion?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Ling Luo and the rest were puzzled and looked at Mo Qingyun in confusion. Chapter 228. It was time for Pink City to have a new owner. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Ling Luo and the others' expressions changed. They were surprised by Mo Qingyun's idea. Could it be that Mo Qingyun wanted to take over Pink City and replace the previous city lord to become the new city lord? At this moment, while Long Yutian and the others were surprised, Ling Luo's eyes suddenly lit up. He seemed to have understood Mo Qingyun's idea. Then, Ling Luo's face was filled with admiration. He gave Mo Qingyun a thumbs up and said, "Boss, you're really the boss. You're really on a different level. We're only chasing after girls to get them. Boss, you're planning to have both the girls and the city." "Both the girls and the city?" Hearing Ling Luo's words, Mo Qingyun was stunned. For a moment, he didn't understand Ling Luo's meaning. "Boss, stop pretending. Let me learn a few moves from you." Seeing Mo Qingyun's puzzled expression, Ling Luo winked at Mo Qingyun and analyzed. "Boss, if you become Pink Lady's man, then you'll be the City Lord's man. In that case, Pink City will naturally be yours. If you're not having both the girls and the city, then what is? Amazing, really amazing." The City Lord's man. Hearing Ling Luo's words, Mo Qingyun was immediately depressed. He knew that Ling Luo had misunderstood his meaning. He explained, "Ling Luo, what I meant is not what you think." "Boss, I understand." Seeing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Ling Luo winked at Mo Qingyun again and said, "As the saying goes, a gentleman wants a fair lady, but a hero has a weakness for the charms of a beautiful woman. This is very normal." Hearing Ling Luo's twisted logic, Mo Qingyun immediately retreated. He didn't want to continue discussing this topic with him. He knew that talking to Ling Luo about this was definitely not a wise thing to do. Then, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything else. He walked to the front and put some distance between him and Ling Luo. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had distanced himself from him, Ling Luo did not dare to continue pestering him. Instead, he walked towards Long Yutian. In his opinion, he and Long Yutian had more in common on this issue. After that, Long Yutian became Mo Qingyun's replacement. His expression instantly turned gloomy. Fortunately, the city lord's mansion was not far away, and they soon arrived. Seeing that they had arrived at the mayor's mansion, Long Yutian's expression relaxed. He could finally get away. Upon seeing the city lord's mansion, Ling Luo walked up with a smile on his face. He shouted into the city lord's mansion, "Lady Pink, my boss has fallen in love with you and has decided to make you his woman. Please come out and meet him." Puff. As soon as Ling Luo said this, Long Yutian immediately spat out the wine in his mouth. As for Mo Qingyun, he was completely dumbfounded. He was speechless at Ling Luo's actions. Then, Mo Qingyun lifted his right foot and kicked Ling Luo's butt. He said, "Get lost, don't talk nonsense here." Mo Qingyun really couldn't take it anymore. After being kicked by Mo Qingyun, Ling Luo showed a wronged expression. He said sarcastically, "Boss, don't kick my butt. My butt hasn't been kicked by anyone before." When he said this, Ling Luo even subconsciously raised his hand to touch his butt. That look of his was extremely wretched. Puff, cough, cough, cough. Seeing Ling Luo's actions, Long Yutian spat out another mouthful of wine and coughed continuously. He stared at Ling Luo with wide eyes. Then, Long Yutian didn't hesitate. He immediately took the wine jug and walked to the side, keeping a distance from Ling Luo. After Long Yutian walked to the side, Ruo Shui and Lu Fengliang also unconsciously distanced themselves from Ling Luo. From now on, they didn't recognize Ling Luo. This guy was too invincible. How dare you insult the city lord? Do you want to die? At this moment, when everyone was distancing themselves from Ling Luo, a group of guards rushed out of the city lord's mansion. They all glared at Mo Qingyun and the others with dark expressions. Scram or die. Looking at the guards in front of him, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste time with them. He directly said this coldly. Arrogant brat, you're courting death. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the guards' faces immediately darkened. Without any hesitation, they raised their hands and charged at Mo Qingyun. Seeing the guards charging at him, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate. He took out his red silk saber and slashed at the guard. Bang bang bang, Mo Qingyun's saber slashed down. A shocking saber radiance flashed past in an instant. Then, the guards were forcefully sent flying. In one move, more than 10 guards were seriously injured and lost their ability to fight. Who is this guy? How can he be so terrifying? How did Pink City offend such a guy? What is he doing in Pink City? Is he here for revenge? Let's run. It's good enough that we're still alive. In an instant, the guards didn't dare to hesitate. They immediately ran for their lives as if they had seen a ghost. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the guards' actions and continued walking into the city lord's mansion. After a short while, Mo Qingyun and the others walked into the city lord's mansion. How dare you? How dare you behave so atrociously in the city lord's mansion? Are you tired of living? At this moment, when Mo Qingyun and the others walked into the city lord's mansion, a wild and arrogant voice came from the city lord's mansion's conference hall. Then, Mo Qingyun saw a group of people walking out from the city lord's mansion's conference hall and came in front of them. Among these people, the leader was a beautiful lady in a pink brocade robe. Her skin was smooth and delicate. Her beauty was comparable to Ruo Shui's. However, this lady belonged to the seductive type while Ruo Shui belonged to the proud snow plum blossom type. After sizing up the lady, Mo Qingyun guessed her identity. She should be the city lord of Pink City. It was indeed as Ling Luo had said. She was an extremely beautiful lady. Moreover, she was so seductive that one couldn't help but want to protect her. It's you guys who are behaving atrociously in the city lord's mansion. While Mo Qingyun was sizing up Pink City, the person who had spoken earlier looked at Mo Qingyun and the others with disdain and said arrogantly, "If you know what's good for you, kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistakes. Then, break your own legs and crawl out of the city lord's mansion. If you do that, I, Zhang Tianji, will show mercy and spare your worthless lives today." Zhang Tianji? This person was called Zhang Tianji. Didn't that mean that he was the big brother that Zhang Tianming had mentioned earlier? They were indeed brothers. Their personalities were equally arrogant. Hearing Zhang Tianji's words, Ling Luo immediately showed disdain. He glanced at Zhang Tianji and said, "So you're Zhang Tianming's big brother, Zhang Tianji. You're at the peak of the 6th level true energy realm. You don't seem to be much. Kid, you're not big, but you talk big." Hearing Ling Luo's mocking words, Zhang Tianji's face immediately darkened. He said, "A 5th level true energy realm kid dares to talk big in front of me. Since that's the case, I'll let you know that I'm strong enough to kill you." "Sure, I'd like to see how you're going to kill me." Seeing that Zhang Tianji was charging towards him, Ling Luo smiled faintly and said to Mo Qingyun playfully, "Boss, I'll take this fly to one side first so that he won't affect your conversation with Pink City." After that, Ling Luo's body moved, and he began to fight against Zhang Tianji. As they fought, he was not at a disadvantage in the slightest. This kid is so strong. With his 5th level true energy realm cultivation, he can actually fight Vice City Lord Zhang head-on. Seeing that Ling Luo had made his move, the expressions of the people beside Pink City immediately changed. They were shocked by Ling Luo's strength. That kid said that this person is his boss. Doesn't that mean that this young man is stronger than him? At this moment, another person spoke. As soon as this person finished speaking, the expressions of Pink City and the others immediately changed. They looked at Emo Qingyun in awe. However, when Rouge Fun looked at Emo Qingyun again, she suddenly frowned and revealed a shocked expression. She exclaimed, You're the purple-eyed devil monarch? The purple eye? What? The young man in front of us is the purple eye. Hearing Pink City's words, the expressions of the people beside her immediately changed. They looked at Emo Qingyun in horror. The purple eye's fierce name had been in the limelight recently. It could be said that there was no one in the 100 countries battlefield who did not know about him. Who would have thought that purple-eyed Devil King and the rest would be in Pink City and standing right in front of them? That's right. Seeing that Pink City had recognized him, Emo Qingyun did not intend to hide his identity. He nodded and admitted his identity. Then, he said to Pink City and the others, I'll give you a choice now. Submit to me or die. From now on, you have 10 breaths of time to consider. Emo Qingyun did not want to waste time talking nonsense with these people. He went straight to the point and told them his intentions. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Pink City and the others' expressions immediately changed. Intense anger appeared on their faces. Emo Qingyun's current behavior was too arrogant. However, considering Emo Qingyun's fierce name, Pink City and the others did not dare to directly attack Emo Qingyun. Soon after, Pink City and the others frowned and pondered in their hearts. They were hesitant. 10 breaths of time passed in the blink of an eye. Seeing that time was up, Emo Qingyun looked coldly at Pink City and the others and said indifferently, Time's up. Have you made your decision? At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun landed, a LV5 True Energy Realm person beside Pink City said disdainfully, The purple eye, although you're fierce, it's impossible for me, Tai Hanshan, to submit to you and work with a crazy demon like you. If you have the ability, then kill me. Iceberg 10,000 caddies. After Tai Hanshan finished speaking, he swung his giant hammer at Emo Qingyun. It seemed that he wanted to perish together with Emo Qingyun. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Seeing that Tai Hanshan was about to attack him, Emo Qingyun's face darkened and he attacked aggressively. I-Power Ray. At this moment, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and directly shot out an I-Power Ray. Puff. As soon as the I-Power Ray was shot out, it pierced through Tai Hanshan's head and killed him instantly. At this moment, Emo Qingyun's idea was to make an example of Tai Hanshan to intimidate Pink City and the others. One move. Tai Hanshan, who was at LV5 True Energy Realm, died. After seeing this scene, the surrounding people all sucked in a breath of cold air. The reverence in their eyes when they looked at Emo Qingyun immediately became stronger. I'm willing to submit to you. After pondering for a while, Pink City bit her lips and made a difficult decision. From Emo Qingyun's decisive action just now, Rouge Fun knew that Emo Qingyun would definitely not do anything to her just because of her looks. If she didn't agree, she would most likely end up like Tai Hanshan, dying in the process. Very well, you'll understand in the future that your decision is wise. Chapter 229. We are also willing to submit. When they heard Emo Qingyun's question, their expressions twitched and they hurriedly nodded in response. Pink, who was the most powerful among them, immediately submitted to Emo Qingyun's ferocious power. If they continued to resist, they would basically be courting death. They knew clearly that once they expressed their unwillingness, they would become the second Tai Hanshan. Of course, they had their own plans at this moment. They were all thinking that they would pretend to submit and save their lives first. Then, they would leave quietly and inform the 10 kingdoms of Emochinyun's whereabout. By then, they would be able to receive a hefty reward. This was simply killing many birds with one stone. After thinking about it this way, a hint of treachery appeared in the eyes of the few people at the side, and a sinister smile appeared on their faces. Emochinyun had a panoramic view of everyone's expressions at this moment. After seeing this, a playful smile appeared on his face. He knew very well what these people were thinking. Then, Emochinyun no longer hesitated. He smiled faintly at the crowd and said, "Since you are willing to submit, then release your souls and let me plant a soul-absorbing mark in your souls. This way, I can guarantee that you are truly willing to submit to me." "What? You want to plant a soul-absorbing mark in my soul? Are you trying to refine us into puppets? If that's the case, what's the point of living? This is too much. I will never agree to this request. I will never agree to it even if I die." After hearing Emochinyun's words, a few people immediately voiced their dissatisfaction. After seeing their reactions, Emochinyun's face immediately darkened and he said coldly, "If you don't agree, then you can all go to hell." In order to avoid any future rebellions, Emochinyun had to cut off any possibility of such a thing happening. Emochinyun would never allow those who pretended to submit to him and wanted to betray him at any time to live. I-Power Ray. As soon as Emochinyun finished his words, he immediately released a ray of I-Power that bombarded the few of them. Chi. Under Emochinyun's attack, these people were unable to resist at all and were killed by him in a domineering manner. Not long after, there were a few more corpses on the ground. Hiss. So brutal. Seeing Emochinyun kill the few people in such a domineering manner, the remaining few people's faces twitched as they sucked in a breath of cold air. Looking at the respectful expressions of the people in front of him, Emochinyun revealed a trace of satisfaction. The effect of killing the chicken to warn the monkey had been achieved. Emochinyun did not say anything else. He looked directly at Hong Fun and said in a deep voice, "Hong Fun, let's start with you." Hearing Emochinyun's words, Hong Fun's pretty face changed, revealing a trace of bitterness. She felt wronged and said, "Yes." At this moment, Hong Fun could not help but feel a blow in her heart. All along, she had been proud of her looks, but at this moment, in front of Emochinyun, it actually did not have the slightest effect. In a short while, Emochinyun planted a soul-assimilating imprint in Hong Fun's soul. Seeing that even Hong Fun was not spared, the other people's wishful thinking was instantly dispelled. Compared to Hong Fun, they did not have the slightest advantage. Emochinyun was not lenient to a beauty like Hong Fun, let alone them. Following that, the remaining people planted a soul-assimilating imprint in Emochinyun one by one. With this, Pink City was completely under Emochinyun's control. Subordinate Hong Fun greets Master. After being planted with the soul-assimilating imprint by Emochinyun, Hong Fun and the rest showed respect and bowed to Emochinyun. "All of you rise." Seeing everyone's actions, Emochinyun nodded his head in satisfaction, indicating that they did not need to be so courteous. "Thank you, Master." Hong Fun and the rest thanked Emochinyun and slowly stood up. Their faces were full of respect as they stood in front of Emochinyun. "What? The Pink City Lord and the rest are completely convinced." At this moment, Zhang Tianji, who was fighting with Ling Luo, was so frightened that his face turned pale when he saw this scene. "Run!" Immediately, Zhang Tianji's heart trembled. He did not dare to stay any longer and immediately turned to run. Trying to escape? Not so easy. Seeing Zhang Tianji's actions, Ling Luo's face darkened. He raised his hand and swung his sword at Zhang Tianji. Ling Luo slashed out with his sword and immediately drew out a ray of sword light. It quickly landed on Zhang Tianji's back, leaving behind a horrifying wound that was dripping with blood. However, Zhang Tianji did not care about this at this moment. He frantically ran for his life as if he had gone mad. You can't escape. Seeing Zhang Tianji frantically running for his life, Ling Luo's face darkened. He planned to continue chasing after Zhang Tianji. Ling Luo, there's no need to chase after him. Emo Qingyun shouted at Ling Luo when he saw Ling Luo's actions. He said indifferently, he's just a clown. Don't bother about him. He can't escape. Yes, boss. Ling Luo nodded in response when he heard Emo Qingyun's words. He walked towards Emo Qingyun's side and said somewhat unwillingly, the next time I see him, I'll definitely kill him. Emo Qingyun only smiled faintly in response to Ling Luo's unwillingly words and did not say anything else. From today onwards, Pink City will be renamed Four Symbol City. Soon after, Emo Qingyun turned to look at Pink and said in a deep voice, the four of them will be the new city lords of Four Symbol City. You will be the deputy city lord of Four Symbol City. As for the others, they will continue to perform their duties and listen to your commands. Emo Qingyun continued, also, the five of us will usually be cultivating. You will continue to manage the matters of Pink City as before. If you encounter any trouble that you can't resolve, you can come and find us. Yes, master. Pink's expression changed slightly when she heard Emo Qingyun's words. She hurriedly nodded in response. Next, Emo Qingyun gave some instructions to Hong Fun and the others before he asked, Hong Fun, is there any quiet place to cultivate in the city governor's estate? Pink's expression was respectful as she replied, Master, there are a few secluded secret cultivation rooms in the city lord's residence. We usually cultivate there. Emo Qingyun nodded when he heard Pink's words. He said, since that's the case, lead us there. A while later, Emo Qingyun and the rest arrived at the secret cultivation room under Pink's lead. You can leave first. I will call you if I need you. After arriving at the secret cultivation room, Emo Qingyun waved his hand at Pink, indicating for her to leave. Subsequently, Emo Qingyun and the rest entered the secret cultivation room with Lu Fengliang and the rest. After entering the secret cultivation room, Emo Qingyun led the rest into a spacious room and said, Brother Lu, I will set up a 5 times time shift formation for all of you. You can cultivate in the time shift formation for the rest of your time. Time shift formation? Lu Fengliang and the rest were puzzled when they heard Emo Qingyun's words. They looked at Emo Qingyun in confusion. Their understanding of formations could not be compared to Emo Qingyun's, so they did not know what kind of formation the time shift formation was. A 5 times time shift formation refers to a formation where 5 days in the formation is equivalent to 1 day in the outside world. Seeing Lu Fengliang and the rest's puzzled expressions, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and explained to them, so, 5 days in the time shift formation is equivalent to 1 day in the outside world. 5 days in the formation is equivalent to 1 day in the outside world? Lu Fengliang and the rest's expressions immediately changed when they heard Emo Qingyun's words. They were shocked and could not believe their ears. If that was the case, wouldn't their cultivation speed be 5 times faster than others? Thump, thump. The heartbeats of Lu Fengliang and the rest sped up when they thought of this. They were unable to calm down for a long time. Emo Qingyun did not say much in response to Lu Fengliang and the rest's astonishment. He began to set up the time shift formation for them. Now that the 9 temples were at the Sky Spirit Realm, it was very easy for Emo Qingyun to set up a 5 times time shift formation with the help of the 9 temples. A moment later, with the help of the 9 temples, Emo Qingyun completed setting up the 5 times time shift formation. Chapter 230. After leaving Ruoshui and the others' cultivation rooms, Emo Qingyun walked into a slightly smaller cultivation room. After entering this cultivation room, Emo Qingyun began to set up the 8 times time travel array, preparing to cultivate and increase his cultivation. Before I cultivate, I should take inventory of the Qiankuan bags that I obtained earlier. After sitting down cross-legged, Emo Qingyun's eyes suddenly lit up as he thought of the thousands of Qiankuan bags that he obtained outside the 9 temples' secret treasure. With this thought, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately began to count the spoils of war. After a few hours, Emo Qingyun finally finished counting the spoils of war. What shocked him was that the number of elemental spirit stones in these thousands of Qiankuan bags was more than 1 billion. Such a number was far beyond his expectations. However, when he thought of the identities of those people before, Emo Qingyun was relieved. Many of those people were princes of various kingdoms, as well as the younger generation of some large family clans. It was normal for them to be wealthy. In addition to a large number of elemental spirit stones, Emo Qingyun also obtained nearly 1 million battle elemental crystals. With this, his cultivation resources were no longer a problem. However, what really made Emo Qingyun happy was that he had obtained a lot of alchemy materials in these Qiankuan bags. As for the other items, such as refining materials, weapons, martial techniques, and armor, he did not care about them. Instead, he wanted to find an opportunity to get rid of those items and exchange them for elemental spirit stones. No wonder so many people are so passionate about raiding and robbing. This is indeed the fastest way to get rich. The efficiency is too high. At this moment, Emo Qingyun could not help but sigh in his heart. With just one massacre, he had obtained such a harvest. Emo Qingyun did not doubt that if he robbed a few more times, he would be as rich as a country. After sighing, Emo Qingyun frowned. He thought to himself, now that I have enough elemental spirit stones, I can post some bounties. With this thought, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He got up and walked out of the secret cultivation room. As he left the secret cultivation room, Emo Qingyun used his soul to send an order to Rufin, telling her to immediately come to the City Lord's mansion's main hall. Soon, Emo Qingyun arrived at the City Lord's main hall. At this time, Rufin and the others were already waiting. Master! Seeing Emo Qingyun arrive, Rufin and the others immediately showed respect and bowed to Emo Qingyun. As Emo Qingyun saw the expressions of Pink and the others, he nodded in response. Then, he tossed a universe bag to Pink and said, "There are 100 million spirit essence stones in here. Later, you can help me issue a few bounties. 100 million elemental spirit stones." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the hearts of Rufin and the others trembled. They were even more in awe of Emo Qingyun. They really didn't think that Emo Qingyun would casually toss out 100 million spirit essence stones like this. After throwing out 100 million elemental spirit stones to Rufin and the others, Emo Qingyun continued, "The contents of the bounties are as follows. The first bounty is 100,000 elemental spirit stones for providing the correct location of the eye demon. The second bounty is 300,000 elemental spirit stones for killing the Du family. The third bounty is 500,000 elemental spirit stones for bringing back Zhang Tianji's head." Then, Emo Qingyun told Rufin about the bounties he wanted to post. After he finished speaking, Emo Qingyun said to Rufin and the others, "After this, if you don't have enough elemental spirit stones, immediately tell me. I will give you another 100 million. Another 100 million. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Rufin and the others trembled again. They were shocked by Emo Qingyun's wealth. At this moment, while Rufin and the others were frightened, Emo Qingyun threw a few more cosmos bags to Rufin and said, "Here are some weapons, armors, martial skills, and other things. Find a suitable opportunity to sell them and exchange them for elemental spirit stones." Seeing that everything was explained, Emo Qingyun did not say anything more. He waved his hand at Rufin and the others and said, "If that's the case, you can go and do your work." "Yes, master." Rufin will take her leave. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Rufin and the others immediately nodded in response. They got up and walked out of the hall. After Ruffin and the others left the hall and opened the cosmos bags containing martial skills and weapons, they were instantly stunned. These cosmos bags were filled with all kinds of weapons, armors, martial skills, and other items. With a rough calculation, these cosmos bags contained at least 10,000 weapons, armors, and other items. If each one was worth 100,000 elemental spirit stones, these cosmos bags were worth at least 1,000,000,000 elemental spirit stones. Hiss! Thinking of this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Their heartbeats immediately sped up. Mo Qingyun had casually thrown out a few cosmos bags, and they were worth over 1,000,000,000 elemental spirit stones. This wealth was too frightening. Ruffin City Lord, do you think these things are? At this moment, a quick-witted person quickly guessed the origin of these things, and looked at Ruffin with shock. These things should have been left behind by the people that Master killed outside the 9 temples. Ruffin's expression was solemn as she responded to the person beside her. She then said, "Regarding Master's matters, we shouldn't ask too much. Just do what Master wants us to do." "Yes, yes, yes." Hearing Ruffin's words, everyone hurriedly nodded and immediately began to do things for Mo Qingyun. After instructing Ruffin and the others, Mo Qingyun returned to the secret training room. Once he returned to the secret training room, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately began to cultivate. Then, Mo Qingyun took out a large number of battlefield origin crystals and piled them around his body for him to refine and absorb. Under Mo Qingyun's refinement, waves of pure battlefield origin energy were extracted from the battlefield origin crystals. Once the battlefield origin energy was extracted, it revolved around Mo Qingyun's body, forming a storm of origin energy that was slowly absorbed and refined by Mo Qingyun. As he absorbed and refined the battlefield origin energy, Mo Qingyun's aura rapidly increased. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Under the continuous absorption of battlefield origin crystals, Mo Qingyun's aura finally reached a peak. Mo Qingyun's cultivation was about to break through. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately began to compress the origin energy in his body, preparing to break through the boundary barrier. Boom! Several hours later, the imposing aura on Mo Qingyun's body suddenly soared, emitting a surge of essence energy airwaves. His cultivation had finally broken through to the 4th level of the True Energy Realm. True Energy Realm Level 4. Feeling the breakthrough in his cultivation, Mo Qingyun's face immediately lit up with joy and he continued to cultivate to stabilize his cultivation. As Mo Qingyun continued to cultivate, waves of pure battlefield origin energy were extracted from the surrounding battlefield origin crystals. A day later, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating. After a day of cultivation, Mo Qingyun's cultivation had finally stabilized at True Energy Realm Level 4. After he stopped cultivating, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly and thought to himself, "I wonder how Ruffin and the others are progressing? Master, Bloodbath City is attacking." At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was pondering, Ruffin sent him a message through soul power. After receiving the message from Ruffin, Mo Qingyun was stunned at first, then he smiled faintly and said, "That's good too. I'll conquer another city and ask them to help me gather information about I-Demon. With one more city, it'll be more efficient." After thinking about this, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and walked out of the secret cultivation room. When Mo Qingyun arrived outside the secret cultivation room, Ruffin was already waiting outside. "Master." When Rouge saw Mo Qingyun come out, she revealed a respectful expression and immediately bowed to Mo Qingyun. After seeing Ruffin, Mo Qingyun's face was cold and he said in a low voice, "Where are they now? Bring me to them." "Yes." After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Ruffin nodded and led the way. After a while, under Ruffin's lead, Mo Qingyun arrived at the conference hall of the governor's mansion. At this moment, a group of arrogant people were sitting in the conference hall of the governor's mansion. They were leaning, standing, or sitting on chairs. Chapter 231. Emo Qingyun did not pay any attention to this person's words as he coldly scanned the crowd. After scanning the crowd, Emo Qingyun spotted a familiar figure in the crowd. It was Zhang Tianji, who had previously escaped. Seeing Zhang Tianji in the crowd, Emo Qingyun revealed a trace of surprise. Soon after, he sneered and said, "Zhang Tianji, you actually dare to come back. You surprised me. Kid, I came back this time to take revenge on you." Seeing that Emo Qingyun had noticed him, Zhang Tianji no longer hid his identity. He revealed a complacent sneer and said, "Let me tell you, the person beside me is Brother Duan Wei, the city lord of Bloody Pool City. He is an expert at True Energy Realm Level 7. With him around, you will not be able to escape this time." "Is True Energy Realm Level 7 very strong?" Hearing Zhang Tianji's words, the corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He revealed a look of disdain and said, "Previously, there was a person called Zhu Feng who was also at True Energy Realm Level 7. In the end, he was still killed by me." Zhu Feng. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Duan Wei and the others' expressions immediately changed. They revealed a look of shock. They had heard of Blood Spear Zhu Feng from Spear Kingdom. It was said that although his cultivation was not high, his strength was extremely terrifying. They did not expect that he would actually die at the hands of Emo Qingyun. It seemed like Emo Qingyun's strength should be above Zhu Feng's. After thinking about this, Duan Wei's expression changed. He looked at Emo Qingyun in shock and said in shock, "You really killed Zhu Feng? Regarding this matter, you will know when you go to Pink City later." Emo Qingyun responded indifferently to Duan Wei's question. His face sank slightly as he looked at Duan Wei's group and said, "Before that, I'll give you a choice. Either submit to me like Rouge or die. I'll give you 10 breaths to consider." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, one of the people beside Duan Wei immediately revealed an expression of disdain. He coldly said, "Brat, do you think we're so easily frightened? You want us to submit to you with just a few casual words? I, Li Qichuan, would like to see how you'll kill me." Life-seizing cut. As soon as Li Qichuan finished speaking, he swung his black iron scythe at Emo Qingyun. As the sickle swept across, a black ripple appeared on the blade of the black iron sickle, emitting a cold and gloomy aura. This scythe. After seeing the scythe in Li Qichuan's hand, Emo Qingyun's expression changed, revealing a look of surprise. From Li Qichuan's scythe, Emo Qingyun could feel a vague soul fluctuation. This discovery left Emo Qingyun surprised. However, after a short moment of surprise, Emo Qingyun's face darkened as he coldly said, "Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he raised his hand and took out the red silk saber, slashing it at Li Qichuan. As Emo Qingyun slashed with his saber, he unreservedly released the 3rd level of fire ultimacy. As the saber slashed down, the flames on the red silk saber immediately surged, emitting a terrifying aura that transformed into a huge fire dragon shadow. Roar! As soon as the fire dragon's saber light formed, it let out a low roar and powerfully blasted towards Li Qichuan. Bang! Li Qichuan's cultivation was only at the 5th level of the True Energy Realm. In the face of Emo Qingyun's attack, he did not even have the strength to resist as he was forcefully blasted away by the fire dragon's saber light. When Li Qichuan was blasted away, Emo Qingyun raised his hand and snatched the black iron scythe, keeping it in his Qiankuan bag. In one move, Li Qichuan was crippled. After seeing this scene, the pupils of Duan Wei and the others at the side shrank. Immediately, they looked at Emo Qingyun with reverence in their eyes. Duan Wei was very clear in his heart that Emo Qingyun's casual slash was already enough to threaten them. This discovery caused him to be unable to make up his mind for a moment. From the looks of it, Emo Qingyun's words might be true, and he really did kill Blood Spear Zhu Feng. However, because of Mo Qingyun's words, he had surrendered just like that. This was too embarrassing for him. However, if he did not surrender, with Mo Qingyun's ability to kill Zhu Feng, it would not be difficult for him to kill him. Time's up. At this moment, when Duan Wei was hesitating in his heart, Mo Qingyun's words entered his ears, causing his expression to immediately change. Speak, do you choose to surrender or die? Mo Qingyun looked at Duan Wei and the others in front of him with a cold expression, waiting for their answer. Duan. Big brother Duan Wei, you must not surrender just because of this kid's words. After seeing the scene before him, Zhang Tianji's expression immediately twitched. He revealed a nervous expression as he tried to persuade Duan Wei. He had no choice but to be nervous. Once Duan Wei and the others surrendered, he would be all alone and would definitely die. Zhang Tianji really did not expect that. Not only did he not ask Duan Wei and the others for help, but he also sent Mo Qingyun's underlings. Such an outcome made him extremely depressed. It was something that he had never dreamt of. At this moment, when Zhang Tianji was speaking to Duan Wei, Mo Qingyun looked at a person with a cultivation of true energy realm level 5 and asked coldly, "What is your choice?" "I will not surrender to you." When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, he revealed a terrified expression and mustered up his courage to reply to Mo Qingyun. "I energy ray." Seeing this person's reply, Mo Qingyun directly shot an eye energy ray at him and pierced his head. Pucci. After being hit by the eye energy ray, this person immediately widened his eyes and revealed a terrified expression as he fell to the ground. Dead. Seeing Mo Qingyun's cold action, Duan Wei and the others immediately felt their hearts twitch and the fear on their faces intensified. At this moment, while Duan Wei and the others were terrified, Mo Qingyun looked at Duan Wei and asked for his decision. "Duan Wei, have you thought about it?" "I am willing to surrender to you." Duan Wei gritted his teeth and made a difficult decision to surrender to Mo Qingyun. Although he was unwilling, he did not dare to take the risk because he could not afford to. We are also willing to surrender." When they saw Duan Wei surrender, Duan Wei's underlings immediately revealed their fearful expressions and voiced their decision one after another. Even their boss, Duan Wei, had surrendered to Mo Qingyun. Why would they still insist unless they were tired of living? Seeing that everyone was willing to surrender, Mo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile and said, "Very good. Now, kill him first." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he raised his hand and pointed at Zhang Tianji. His meaning was obvious. Yes. When they heard Mo Qingyun's order, Duan Wei and the others immediately nodded and charged towards Zhang Tianji. Brother Duan Wei, don't kill me." When he saw Duan Wei and the others charging over, Zhang Tianji's expression immediately twitched and he revealed a pleading expression. However, Duan Wei simply didn't care about his begging. He revealed a trace of a cold smile and said, "Zhang Tianji, you brat, you caused me to live under someone else's roof. You actually want me to spare you? Moreover, if I don't kill you, I will die myself. So, you should obediently accept your death." In Duan Wei's opinion, if Zhang Tianji had not incited him to come, how could he have been forced to surrender to Mo Qingyun at this moment? When Duan Wei's words fell, he attacked Zhang Tianji mercilessly. In just a few exchanges, Duan Wei killed Zhang Tianji. Seeing the long saber in Duan Wei's hand stabbed into his chest, Zhang Tianji's face was filled with unwillingness and despair. He never would have thought that the helper he invited would actually kill him in the end. This kind of death was really too sullen. Seeing that Duan Wei killed Zhang Tianji, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and said to Duan Wei and the others, "Open up your souls and let me plant a soul imprint in your souls." "What? You want to plant a soul imprint in our souls?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expressions of Duan Wei and the rest immediately changed and a trace of anger surfaced. In their opinion, Emo Qingyun's request at this moment was really a little too overbearing. Regarding Duan Wei and the rest's reaction, Emo Qingyun ignored it and said in a cold tone, "You can choose to refuse, but your outcome will be the same as Zhang Tianji's." "Humph! Brat, you are too much of a bully. I don't believe that with so many of us, we can't deal with you alone." "That's right. Everyone, attack together and kill this brat together." "Big brother Duan Wei, if we attack together, we might be able to kill this brat. I heard that he has many treasures on him." At this moment, the 5 or 6 people behind Duan Wei immediately revealed a look of anger and greed, wanting to kill Emo Qingyun and seize the treasures. Soul Sky Seal, seeing their actions, Emo Qingyun no longer held back and directly blasted out over 10 soul battle seals at them. Puff puff puff, faced with the bombardment of the soul battle seals, the few of them spat out mouthfuls of blood and their expressions became sluggish. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun did not show any mercy. He raised his hand and swept his saber at them, killing them directly. We are willing to open up our souls and let you plant the soul-snatching seal." Seeing this, Duan Wei and the rest did not dare to hesitate and quickly begged Emo Qingyun for mercy. After that, Emo Qingyun planted a soul-assimilating imprint in the souls of Duan Wei and the others, and then said to them, "When you return to Bloodpool City, help me issue a few bounties. First, provide information on the location of the Beholder Demon." Emo Qingyun told Duan Wei and the rest about the bounties. "Master, you are looking for a demon?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Duan Wei's expression changed and revealed a look of surprise as he looked at Emo Qingyun. Hearing Duan Wei's words, Emo Qingyun's expression changed and he asked with anticipation, "You know the location of I demon?" "Yes." Duan Wei nodded and replied with a solemn expression, "A month ago, I encountered some I demons in Heixian Valley. However, that place is now occupied by Puppet Kingdom, the 4th of the 10 kingdoms. Outsiders are not allowed to enter." Hearing this, Emo Qingyun pondered for a moment and said to Duan Wei, "Tell me the location of Heixian Valley." Chapter 232. Before Emo Qingyun left, he made a trip to the secret cultivation room. After arriving at the secret cultivation room, he set up a defensive formation outside the cultivation room of Lu Fengliang and the others. This was to prevent the people of the 10 great kingdoms from coming to cause trouble after he left, and Lu Fengliang and the others would be injured. "Brother Lu, it's best that you don't leave the formation for the next few days." After setting up the defensive formation, Emo Qingyun instructed Lu Fengliang and the others. "Okay." Lu Fengliang and the others nodded in response. After hearing Lu Fengliang and the others' response, Emo Qingyun did not say anything else and walked towards his cultivation room. After returning to his cultivation room, Emo Qingyun began to store the 8-fold time travel formation into the disk array of the 9 temples. After doing all this, Emo Qingyun could not stay any longer and immediately headed towards Heixian Valley. According to Duan Wei's description, Heixian Valley was some distance away from Pink City. With Emo Qingyun's speed, it would take about 10 days to reach it. In addition, Duan Wei also said that Heixian Valley was a famous danger zone in the 100 Countries battlefield. It was also a famous treasure trove. It was said that this black profound valley was the place where a powerhouse cultivated, and that powerhouse's inheritance was located within. After receiving this information, Emo Qingyun's anticipation for Heixian Valley increased. 9 temples, do you know Heixian Valley? On the way to Heixian Valley, Emo Qingyun chatted with the 9 temples as he hurried along. Emo Qingyun thought that since the 9 temples had appeared in the 100 Countries battlefield, they should have some understanding of the 100 Countries battlefield. Even if his memory was badly damaged, he should have some impression of it. If he could provide some helpful information, that would be great. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the 9 temples pondered for a moment before replying. "Young lord, old servant Gu has some impression of Heixian." It seems to be the residence of He Xian's Star General. He Xian's residence? Hearing the Ninth Temple's message, Mo Qingyun was surprised. He didn't expect the master of He Xian Valley to be in existence similar to the Ninth Temple's. If that was the case, this He Xian Valley should not be simple. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun's expectations for He Xian Valley increased a little. Young Lord, He Xian's Star General was one of the strongest of the previous master's 18 Star Generals. Her battle prowess is above old servants. At this time, the Ninth Temples pondered for a moment, organized his thoughts, and said, He Xian's Star General's cultivation method, He Xian's incarnation, can be cultivated to the peak and can condense 9 external avatars. Each external avatar has 70% of the master's battle prowess. It is very powerful. So powerful! Hearing the Ninth Temple's words, Mo Qingyun's eyes widened. He couldn't believe his ears. At this moment, in his mind, a scene of the real body leading the 9 external avatars to beat up the enemy appeared. The Ninth Temples continued. Not only that, if you cultivate He Xian's incarnation, when you encounter danger, you can even use soul formation to replace yourself, allowing the real body to escape. He Xian's incarnation, I must have you. After listening to the Ninth Temple's explanation, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of anticipation. Clenching his fists, he secretly made up his mind. In the following days, Mo Qingyun hurried along as he cultivated, raising his cultivation. 10 days later, in a relatively remote hut, an 18 or 19-year-old youth sat cross-legged on the ground with a serious expression on his face, madly absorbing the yuan qi from the battlefield. At this moment, the yuan qi around the youth was like a storm, constantly revolving around his body. As time passed, the yuan qi storm around the youth grew bigger and bigger, and his aura grew stronger and stronger. At the same time, the youth's aura also grew stronger and stronger. After an unknown period of time, the youth's aura suddenly increased explosively, entering a new level. His cultivation had broken through. True Energy Level 5. Feeling the yuan qi in his body grow stronger, the youth opened his eyes with joy, feeling somewhat excited. This youth was naturally Mo Qingyun, who had left Pink City and was heading to He Xian Valley. In these 10 days of hurrying along, Mo Qingyun's cultivation had finally increased again with the help of the time shift 8 times formation. Next, Mo Qingyun stabilized his cultivation before he got up and continued on his way. In half a day I will reach He Xian Valley. After estimating in his mind, Mo Qingyun had a rough idea of his current location. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately hurried on with all his might. Half a day later, a pitch-black valley appeared in front of Mo Qingyun, making Mo Qingyun feel as if he had arrived at a coal mine. Not only were the rocks here black, even the grass and trees on the mountain were all pitch black. This seemed to be a black world. After a short moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun did not think too much about it and directly walked into He Xian Valley. Stop. This is the territory of our puppet kingdom. Unrelated people, get lost immediately. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun was about to enter He Xian Valley, a cold voice came from the side of the mountain rock. Then, Mo Qingyun saw a few youths jump down from the mountain rock with cold expressions and slowly approach him. These youths were not weak and had all reached true energy level 7. Moreover, there was a large man with copper skin and iron bones beside each of them. These large men with copper skin and iron bones should be the so-called puppets. These puppets were not weak and were slightly stronger than these youths. They were almost at the true energy level 8. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun's expression could not help but change as he thought to himself, no wonder the puppet kingdom can be ranked 4th in the 10 great kingdoms. It seems like they do indeed have an impressive combat strength. However, although the puppet kingdom's combat strength was not weak, Mo Qingyun would not be scared off by them. After pondering for a moment, Emo Qingyun showed a trace of disdain and said indifferently, "Since when did Hexian Valley become the private territory of your puppet kingdom?" When they heard Emo Qingyun's words, the youth's expressions changed as they were somewhat surprised by Emo Qingyun's performance. A true energy level 5 brat actually dared to speak so arrogantly when he met a true energy level 7 cultivator of their puppet kingdom. This kind of thing was really rare. "So it's this fool. Don't talk nonsense with him. Shao Qi, get rid of him." After being stunned for a moment, one of the young men glanced at Emo Qingyun with disdain before instructing the young man beside him, "Let's go." "Yes, second brother." Shao Qi nodded and sneered at Emo Qingyun. He said, "Brat, if I were you, I would have run far away when I saw us. I wouldn't have stayed to die." Die? When he heard Shao Qi's words, Emo Qingyun curled his lips and sneered. He said indifferently, "I don't think so. Just the few of you can't do anything to me. It's really this fool." When Shao Qi heard Emo Qingyun's words, the disdain on his face became thicker. He said impatiently, "Since you're in such a hurry to die, I'll fulfill your wish." After Shao Qi finished speaking, he moved the puppet aside and looked at Emo Qingyun with disdain. He said, "I don't need to use a puppet to deal with you." Puppet's shadow. After moving the puppet aside, Shao Qi attacked Emo Qingyun. The machete in his hand released a terrifying yuan power. When the yuan power was released, it turned into a human-shaped shadow and charged towards Emo Qingyun and the others. It showed that it was not afraid of death. Sun Incinerating Mountain Splitting Blade. When he saw the yuan power figure, Emo Qingyun's face darkened. He took out his red silk blade and slashed at it. Then, a terrifying blade radiance bloomed on the red silk blade and turned into a fire dragon. It charged towards the human-shaped shadow with lightning speed. Bang! Under the attack of the fire dragon blade radiance, the human-shaped shadow was immediately destroyed and dissipated in midair. At the same time, the speed of the fire dragon blade radiance did not decrease. It continued to charge towards Shao Qi. Bang! Another muffled sound was heard. Shao Qi was directly hit by the fire dragon blade radiance and was sent flying. He spat out blood. Shao Qi. When the surrounding people saw this, they were shocked and quickly rushed towards Shao Qi. The scene in front of them was beyond their expectations. They did not expect that the person who was defeated in one move was not Emo Qingyun, who was at true energy realm level 5, but their brother, Shao Qi. "Boy, how dare you hurt the people of the puppet kingdom? You're courting death." After checking on Shao Qi's injuries, the young men's faces turned cold. They were about to attack Emo Qingyun. Woo 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 woo. At this moment, when the young men were about to attack, a bugle horn sounded from inside Hexian Valley. "It's the 8th prince calling for everyone." When they heard the bugle horn, the young men's expressions changed. They said to Emo Qingyun coldly, "Boy, you're lucky this time. You'd better not let us meet you again." As soon as the young man finished speaking, he carried Shao Qi's body and rushed towards the interior of Hexian Valley. Seeing the young man's actions, Emo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He was surprised by the outcome. Did the puppet kingdom discover something? Chapter 233. After the Puppet King's people left, they quickly advanced towards the interior of Hexian Valley and soon arrived at a valley. Seeing the people from the Puppet Kingdom enter the valley, Emo Qingyun hurriedly followed and also entered the valley. Clang clang clang. After Emo Qingyun entered the valley, the sound of intense fighting entered his ears. There's a fight. Could it be the people from the Puppet Kingdom? Hearing the sound of fighting, Emo Qingyun's expression changed and revealed a trace of surprise. He asked doubtfully, "I wonder which kingdom the people fighting with the Puppet Kingdom are from?" In Emo Qingyun's opinion, with the powerful strength of the Puppet Kingdom, the existence that dared to confront them head-on was definitely not simple. The puppet kingdom was ranked fourth among the 10 great kingdoms, and its strength was self-evident. Now, when this force was fighting with the puppet kingdom, it was even more remarkable to be able to force them to send a distress signal. Thinking of this, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression and immediately rushed towards the interior of the valley. Not long after, the scene of an intense battle appeared before Mo Qingyun's eyes. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that the force fighting with the people from the puppet kingdom was not from a certain kingdom, but a group of eye-demons. These eye-demons were not weak, and they were basically at the 4th or 5th level of the true energy realm. The strongest eye-demon even had a cultivation of the 7th level of the true energy realm. Eye-demons! Seeing these eye-demons in front of him, Mo Qingyun's expression changed and revealed a look of pleasant surprise. He really did not expect that there would be so many eye-demons here. It seemed that Duan Wei did not lie. Heixian Palace. However, when Mo Qingyun's gaze shifted to the back of the eye-demons, his expression changed again and revealed a look of shock. This was actually the cultivation palace of Heixian Star General. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun could not help but guess in his heart, the people from the puppet kingdom should be planning to kill these eye-demons and then enter the Heixian Palace. 8th Prince, we are here. While Mo Qingyun was still in shock, Shao Qi and the others had respectful looks on their faces as they walked up to a young man with a golden crown on his head. The golden-crowned young man was surprised when he saw Shao Qi and the others. He looked at the injured Shao Qi and asked, "Yan Er, why is Yan Qi injured?" "Just now, outside Heixian Valley, we encountered a true energy stage 5 brat. When Little Seven was dealing with him, she was accidentally injured by his sneak attack." Yan looked slightly ashamed as he reported to the 8th Prince. In his opinion, it was unbelievable that a 5th-level true energy stage martial artist could injure Yan Qi, who was at the 7th-level true energy stage. It was too shameful to say such a thing. 5th level of the true element stage? The 8th Prince's expression changed when he heard Yan Er's words. He sneered playfully. At this moment, whether Yan Qiuyang did it on purpose or not, his gaze actually drifted towards Mo Qingyun. Seeing Yan Qiuyang's actions, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. A trace of shock rose in his heart as he exclaimed, "Have we been discovered?" However, Mo Qingyun was slightly relieved when he saw that Yan Qiuyang did not do anything else. He thought that he was being overly cautious. Although that brat's cultivation level is only at the 5th level true energy stage, his true strength is far beyond his cultivation level. When Yan Er saw the look of shock on Yan Qiuyang's face, the shame on his face deepened. He said, "Because we heard your summons, we didn't continue to pursue him and let him escape. Don't worry about that brat. Let's deal with these eye-demons first." The 8th Prince smiled and waved his hand when he heard Yan Er's words. He gestured to Yan Er and the others to not worry and ordered them to kill the eye-demons in front of them. Yes. Yan Er and the rest did not hesitate when they heard the 8th Prince's order. They immediately joined the team and began to kill eye-demons. After instructing Yan Er and the others, the 8th Prince's expression turned cold. He glanced at Mo Qingyun and said coldly, "Brat, you actually dare to touch my, Yan Qiuyang's people. I will definitely make you regret being born into this world." The 8th Prince, Yan Qiuyang, no longer hesitated and joined the rest to kill eye-demons. After Yan Qiuyang fought eye-demons, a few more people joined the team to kill eye-demons. Eye-demons, who initially had the upper hand, fell into a disadvantageous position after these people joined the team. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly as he watched Yan Qiuyang and the others fight with Yan Qiuyang. He said playfully, "I'll let you fight with Yan Qiuyang for a while. Once they're both injured, I'll take advantage of the situation." As soon as this thought appeared, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and leisurely watched the Puppet Kingdom and Eye Devil fight. However, the more he watched, the more shocked Mo Qingyun became. The people from Puppet Kingdom were very experienced in dealing with eye demons, especially the eighth prince, Yan Chuyang. Yan Chuyang skillfully controlled the puppets to block the rays from eye demons while he killed eye demons himself. In a short while, a few eye demons were killed by him. His efficiency was extremely high. Soon, the eye demons were like ordinary demonic beasts. Half of them were killed by Yan Chuyang and the rest. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw that. He thought to himself, these people are so powerful. Given their current combat power, why did the 10 kingdoms lose so many people when they fought eye demons back then? That's strange. At this moment, doubt arose in Mo Qingyun's heart. He felt somewhat puzzled. Young master, this old servant seems to have sensed a familiar aura from the eighth prince, Yan Chuyang. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was pondering in his heart, Jiu Gong suddenly exclaimed in surprise. Oh! Mo Qingyun was shocked when he heard what the 9 temples said. He asked, do you know where he came from? The 9 temples pondered for a moment and replied, I don't know yet. However, given enough time, I should be able to guess. Whoosh! While Mo Qingyun and the 9 temples were talking, a purple stream of light shot out from the eyes of the puppet beside Yan Chuyang. It was I-Force Ray. I-Force Ray. After seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed, and the way he looked at Yan Chuyang also changed. Yan Chuyang's puppet could shoot out I-Force Ray. Didn't that mean that Yan Chuyang's puppet had refined the eye demon bloodline? If that was the case, Yan Chuyang knew how to refine the eye demon bloodline. In other words, Yan Chuyang and the others were probably hunting eye demons for the eye demon bloodline to increase their puppet's I-Force Ray. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun's heart was immediately set off by a raging storm. He had never imagined that there would be someone in the 100 countries battlefield who could refine the eye demon bloodline to produce I-Force Ray. This was definitely not a good thing for him. The 9 temples said to Mo Qingyun in a grave tone, Young lord, although I can't guess where this person came from, his background is definitely not simple. You must be careful of him in the future. He might be a strong opponent for you. I'm aware of that. Mo Qingyun nodded after hearing this, indicating that he agreed with Jiu Gong's words. Then, he said with some relief, it's a good thing that I came to the Black Profound Valley and learned of such an existence. I can prepare ahead of time to guard against him. Otherwise, if I rashly encountered him, I might have encountered some trouble. At the moment, Mo Qingyun had already regarded Yan Chuyang as a formidable opponent. Thus, a trace of killing intent arose in his heart. As the saying went, a mountain could not accommodate 2 tigers. Since Yan Chuyang had the same ability as him, there was no way they could coexist peacefully. Therefore, between him and Yan Chuyang, only one of them could stay in the 100-ghost battlefield. Given Yan Chuyang's ability, he must have been hiding something when he killed Eye Demon in the 10 Great Kingdoms. When he thought of this, Mo Qingyun's heart sank a little. The way he looked at Yan Chuyang turned a little colder as he thought to himself, this means that Yan Chuyang must be a very patient person. Such a person is very difficult to deal with. While Mo Qingyun was still in shock, Yan Chuyang killed several more eye demons in succession. Mo Qingyun sighed softly when he saw Yan Chuyang kill eye demons with ease. What a fast speed! Given Yan Chuyang's speed, it won't be long before he slaughters all the eye demons here. Just like that, about 15 minutes later, the eye demons outside Hexian Valley were all slaughtered by Yan Chuyang and the others. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that after Yan Chuyang killed Eye Demon, he looked at him with a sneer and said coldly, "Kid, how long are you going to hide? You were secretly watching from the side. It's time for you to come out and meet me. I've really been discovered." Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed when he heard Yan Chuyang's words. A wave of surprise rose in his heart. It seemed that he had not been overly cautious earlier. Instead, he had been discovered by Yan Chuyang long ago. Chapter 234. Seeing that Yan Qiuyang had discovered him, Mo Qingyun no longer concealed himself. He walked out from behind the black rock and walked towards the people from the puppet kingdom. "Brat, it's actually you." Yan Er and the rest immediately recognized Mo Qingyun when they saw Mo Qingyun. They glowered at Mo Qingyun and said, "Brat, you've got guts. You actually followed us here after injuring the people from the puppet kingdom. I think you must be tired of living. So you're the one who injured Yanqi." Yan Qiuyang was shocked when he heard what Yan Er and the rest said. He looked at Mo Qingyun with appreciation and said, "You're able to injure Yanqi, who is at True Origin Stage 7, with your cultivation at True Origin Stage 5. You're quite extraordinary." After praising Mo Qingyun, Yan Qiuyang smiled faintly at Mo Qingyun and said, "I, Yan Qiuyang, am a person who appreciates talents. As long as you release your soul now and allow me to plant a soul imprint in your soul and willingly become my soul puppet, I'll spare your life." Soul puppet. Hearing Yan Qiuyang's words, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat and he revealed a shocked expression. He had never imagined that Yan Qiuyang would actually possess a similar ability to plant a soul imprint in another person's soul. It seemed like Yan Qiuyang was even more extraordinary. Most importantly, Yan Qiuyang had kept a low profile despite possessing such an ability. His ability to conceal himself was too frightening. This person was difficult to deal with. He was a terrifying enemy. At that moment, Mo Qingyun gave Yan Qiuyang an evaluation in his heart. After a short moment of silence, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile as he replied, "What if I don't agree?" "Don't agree?" Yan Qiuyang sneered when he heard Mo Qingyun's reply. "Brat, I advise you to think it through. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to kill you and give up on such a talent." At this moment, when Yan Qiuyang finished speaking, a young man beside him revealed a proud expression and said, "Kid, it's your honor that the 8th prince has taken a liking to your talent. Our 8th prince is a man of great talent and will definitely accomplish great things in the future. Following him is the wisest choice for you." "Hee, I'm sorry, but I don't like to be restrained by others." Hearing Yan Qiuyang's threatening words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and rejected his suggestion again. "Brat, you've seen many of my secrets and you're not willing to submit to me. If that's the case, I can't let you live." Yan Qiuyang's face turned cold when he heard Mo Qingyun's refusal. He waved his hand at the people around him and said, "Kill him! What a blind brat! The 8th prince appreciates you so much, but you don't know how to appreciate his kindness." Hearing Yan Qiuyang's order, the people around him immediately attacked Mo Qingyun. "Since you want to die, we'll fulfill your wish. Let's set up the battle puppet formation immediately and kill this brat quickly. Don't let the 8th prince get in the way." These people went all out as soon as they attacked. They directly used the puppets to attack Mo Qingyun. "You intend to use the puppets to deal with me?" Mo Qingyun could not help but curl his lips when he saw the actions of the people from the puppet kingdom. He said with a faint smile, "If that's the case, I'll pull out your tiger teeth first." Heavenly Soul Seal. Then, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately attacked these people. He released dozens of Heavenly Soul Seals. Once the Heavenly Soul Seals were released, Mo Qingyun controlled them, and they quickly blasted into the Heavenly Soul of the puppet. As the Heavenly Soul Seals blasted into the Heavenly Soul of the puppets, they immediately wiped out the Soul Seals in the Heavenly Soul of the puppet. Once the Soul Seals in the Heavenly Soul of the puppets were wiped out, they were no longer under the control of anyone. They instantly turned into scrap metal and stood there motionlessly. As for the people from the puppet kingdom, because the soul power that they had left in the Heavenly Soul of the puppets was blasted away by Mo Qingyun, their minds were immediately injured. As their minds were injured, the people from the puppet kingdom immediately spat out blood. Their faces turned pale as they looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. They had not expected Mo Qingyun to have such a technique. He was simply the nemesis of the puppet kingdom. Middle stage spirit origin realm. This brat's spirit origin realm has such a strong spirit origin realm cultivation. After Mo Qingyun performed the heavenly soul seal, Yan Shuoyang's expression changed and he revealed a look of surprise. He had not expected Mo Qingyun's soul power to have reached such a level. After a short moment of surprise, Yan Shuoyang's face turned gloomy. He said coldly, "To think that I actually underestimated you. Since that's the case, I'll personally kill you." Yama's integrity. Under Yan Shuoyang's attack, a wave of soul power immediately shot out from the top of his head and turned into a black scythe. As soon as the scythe appeared, it rapidly attacked Mo Qingyun's head. It gave off a cold and dark aura. Heavenly Soul Seal. Seeing Yan Shuoyang's attack, Mo Qingyun did not dare to hesitate. He immediately summoned his Heavenly Soul Seal to receive it. At this moment, Mo Qingyun did not hold back. He summoned 81 Heavenly Soul Seals and suppressed the Black Heavenly Soul Scythe. Bang! After the Black Heavenly Soul Seal and the Heavenly Soul Sickle collided, a loud sound was emitted. A shocking soul ripple surged from it. As soon as the soul ripple was emitted, it was like a nightmare or a ghost. It rapidly flew out in all directions. It was a terrifying sight. Yan Shuoyang was not surprised that Mo Qingyun had blocked his attack. Instead, a cold smile appeared on his face. Soul Light. As Yan Shuoyang sneered, he formed a seal with his right hand and sent it into the puppet on his right. Then, a dark gray flowing light shot out from the puppet on his right. It carried a terrifying soul ripple and attacked Mo Qingyun. At the same time, Yan Shuoyang formed a seal with his left hand and sent it into the puppet on his left. Yuan Power Light. Then, a golden flowing light shot out from the puppet on his left. It gave off a shocking aura and blasted towards Mo Qingyun. 2 types of eye rays. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was shocked by Yan Shuoyang's technique. Yan Shuoyang had actually mastered 2 types of eye rays. He was not like him, who could stack 2 attacks together. Eye ray. After a short moment of shock, Mo Qingyun did not dare to hesitate. He immediately retaliated. Then 2 purple flowing lights shot out from Mo Qingyun's eyes and blasted towards the 2 eye rays. Eye ray. This kid also has eye ray. It's a complete heavenly soul eye ray. Seeing Mo Qingyun's eye ray, Yan Shuoyang's expression immediately changed and he exclaimed in shock. He had not expected Mo Qingyun to have such an ability. Furthermore, the strength of Mo Qingyun's eye ray seemed to be above his puppet's eye ray. Such a situation was truly beyond his expectations. However, after a short moment of shock, Yan Shuoyang guessed Mo Qingyun's identity. He said in shock, "You are the purple eye Mo Qingyun?" Mo Qingyun was not surprised that Yan Shuoyang had recognized him. When he killed people outside the secret treasure of the 9 temples, he had used the eye ray. This matter had spread throughout the 100 countries battlefield. It was not surprising that Yan Shuoyang had recognized him. That's right. Seeing that Yan Shuoyang had recognized him, Mo Qingyun did not try to hide it. He nodded and admitted it. Mo Qingyun, I know that you have obtained the inheritance of the 9 temples and possess some of the techniques of the 9 temples. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had admitted it, Yan Shuoyang's face immediately darkened. He said coldly, however, "You are still not my match. You are a true talent. I am not reluctant to kill you." Yan Shuoyang paused for a moment before he said solemnly, "Now, I'll give you one last chance. As long as you tell me the method to refine the heavenly spirit devil eyes and submit to me, I can still spare your life." This person really knows the 9 temples. Hearing Yan Shuoyang's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He then said disdainfully, "If you have the ability, just do it. There is no need for so much nonsense. If you want me to tell you how to refine the heavenly soul magic eye, stop dreaming. Since you are courting death, I will fulfill your wish." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yan Qiuyang's face darkened. He said, "After I kill you, I will collect your soul. At that time, I will naturally know how to refine the heavenly soul magic eye." As soon as Yan Qiuyang finished speaking, he did not waste any more words. His body moved and he charged toward Mo Qingyun. At this moment, as Yan Qiuyang attacked, a shocking aura rippled out from his body. Chapter 235. Half-Step to Yuan Dan. Mo Qingyun's face darkened and tensed up when he felt Yan Qiuyang's aura fluctuation. Yan Qiuyang's strength had greatly exceeded his expectations. Not only was his soul cultivation at the late stage of the spirit origin realm, but his Yuan power cultivation had also reached the half-step to Yuan Dan. Most importantly, Yan Qiuyang knew all the techniques that Mo Qingyun had mastered. As a result, Mo Qingyun's advantage had been reduced to the minimum and he was forced into a passive position. In corpse fiendish qi, Yan Qiuyang's attack was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, his palm was already in front of Mo Qingyun's chest. After the black Yuan power exploded from Yan Qiuyang's palm, it turned into a black ghost claw and clawed at Mo Qingyun's chest. At this moment, the black Yuan power ghost claw was like a death reaper that had arrived at the 18th level of hell. Wherever the ghostly hand passed, the surrounding air seemed to be corroded, emitting a series of crackling sounds. Fire Dragon Seal, seeing Yan Qiuyang's attack, Mo Qingyun did not dare to hesitate and immediately blocked it. Once Mo Qingyun made his move, he immediately produced 81 Fire Dragon Battle Seals, which condensed into a giant flaming battle shield and blocked the attack of the Black Essence Force Ghost Claw. When he took out the Fire Dragon Seal, Mo Qingyun also released the third-level Fire Ultimacy and added it to the Fire Dragon Shield. With the addition of the third-level Fire Ultimacy, the Fire Dragon Shield's aura immediately increased and the power of the flames became stronger. Chi chi chi, after the Black Yuan Power Ghost Claw hit the flaming shield, a sizzling sound was heard and black smoke was emitted. As the black smoke was emitted, the Black Yuan Power Ghost Claw began to dissipate bit by bit. As the Black Yuan Power Ghost Claw dissipated, the Fire Dragon Shield was also corroded bit by bit and a gap appeared in the middle. After a stalemate, the Fire Dragon Seal and the Black Ghost Claw both dissipated in the sky. He actually blocked it. Yan Qiuyang's expression changed slightly when he saw that his full-force attack was easily received by Mo Qingyun. He was a little surprised by this result. The strength that Mo Qingyun had displayed had surprised him. After a short moment of surprise, Yan Qiuyang's expression turned gloomy. He said in a cold voice, "I did not expect you to have comprehended the third level of Fire Ultimacy. I have underestimated you. However, that was just a warm-up. I will not hold back anymore." As soon as Yan Qiuyang finished speaking, he attacked Mo Qingyun once again, releasing a gloomy and cold aura. This was the power of Ultimacy, and it was the second level of Ice Ultimacy. Second level Profound of Ice. Sensing the aura emanating from Yan Qiuyang's body, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed, and he felt extremely surprised. To think that Yan Qiuyang had also comprehended the power of Profound, and it was not even at the first level of Profound. This surprised Mo Qingyun. In this way, Mo Qingyun's advantage of the power of Ultimacy was immediately reduced by a little. After releasing the power of Ultimacy, Yan Qiuyang immediately controlled the two puppets to attack Mo Qingyun together with him. Soul Sky Seal, seeing that Yan Qiuyang had brought the two puppets to attack him, Mo Qingyun released the Soul Battle Seal and attacked the two puppets. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Yan Qiuyang sneered and said coldly, "Boy, it is not that easy to destroy the Soul Seal in my puppets." Soul Whirlpool, Yan Qiuyang's head shot out a terrifying soul power again, turning into a black whirlpool. As soon as the Soul Whirlpool was formed, it released a shocking devouring power, devouring the soul battle seals one by one. Not only that, Emo Qingyun felt that his soul was about to be torn out by the devouring power of the soul whirlpool. What a troublesome guy! Seeing that his attack had failed again, Emo Qingyun's face darkened and his expression became more solemn. Yan Qiuyang's level of difficulty could be said to be the most troublesome person he had encountered since his rebirth. Immediately, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and summoned his Light Gate martial soul. Seal Gate, seal for me. As soon as the Light Gate martial soul was summoned, Emo Qingyun used his martial soul superpower on Yan Qiuyang to seal his flesh and spiritual soul. Puff! Under the suppression of the Seal Gate, Yan Qiuyang's flesh and spiritual soul were immediately injured. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. Immediately after, Yan Qiuyang's aura weakened rapidly. In a short while, Yan Qiuyang's aura was only at the peak LV8 true energy realm, and his spiritual soul cultivation was only at the early stage of the spirit origin realm. What is this? It can seal my bloodline power and spiritual soul. Yan Qiuyang's expression changed when he saw that his flesh and spiritual soul had been suppressed by the Seal Gate force. Then, he looked at Emo Qingyun with a strong sense of awe. Emo Qingyun had already made him feel a little threatened. As Yan Qiuyang looked at Emo Qingyun with respect, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate to summon his Scarlet Flame Dragon martial soul. Roar! As soon as the Scarlet Flame Dragon martial soul appeared, it let out a deep dragon roar and emitted a shocking dragon power. Blood Chi Rampage! As soon as the Scarlet Flame Dragon martial soul was summoned, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate to use his martial soul superpower to raise his cultivation. At this moment, Emo Qingyun did not dare to hold back when facing someone like Yan Qiuyang. Yan Qiuyang was a great threat to him. If he was not careful, he might not be able to recover. Emo Qingyun did not want to see such an outcome. Therefore, it was safest to go all out. As soon as the martial soul superpower was unleashed, Emo Qingyun's aura surged. Soon, it reached LV7 True Energy Realm. As soon as Emo Qingyun reached LV7 True Energy Realm, he felt the pressure on him decrease. At this moment, the gap between him and Yan Qiuyang was narrowed. Twin Martial Souls. A martial soul superpower that can raise one's cultivation. Seeing the Scarlet Flame Dragon martial spirit and the White Light Gate martial spirit, Yan Qiuyang's face immediately changed and he said in shock. At this moment, the talent that Emo Qingyun displayed had greatly exceeded his expectations. It made his heart palpitate a little. He really didn't think that the kid who was originally unremarkable in his eyes would actually have the qualifications to compete with him. Twin martial souls. This lad has twin martial souls. This lad is so talented. Which kingdom is he from? Also, this lad's martial soul superpower is so powerful. It can raise one's cultivation and suppress one's cultivation. This is too demonic. His talent seems to be higher than the 8th prince's. I did not expect there to be such an existence in the 100 Kingdom battlefield. I have never heard of this lad in the 10 kingdoms. Could he be from a small kingdom? At that moment, the surrounding people from the Puppet Kingdom all revealed shocked expressions. Emo Qingyun's sudden display of powerful talent and strength made it difficult for them to accept in their hearts for a while. Sun Incinerating Mountain Splitting Saber, while everyone was shocked, Emo Qingyun slashed at Yan Qiuyang with the red silk saber in his hand. When Emo Qingyun swung his saber, a terrifying aura immediately erupted from his body. Under the shroud of Emo Qingyun's aura, everyone couldn't help but have the illusion that Emo Qingyun was the world itself. Saber force. As soon as this misconception appeared, the expressions of everyone in the Puppet Kingdom shook, and they were extremely surprised. Saber force. This lad has comprehended the force of heaven and earth. This lad's talent is so demonic. How many trump cards does this lad have? Does he have more powerful trump cards? With this lad's talent, we can't let him escape. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble. But with his current strength, it won't be easy for the 8th prince to keep him here unless he uses some powerful trump cards. Seeing Mo Qingyun's trump cards, the people from the puppet kingdom had a change in their expressions. They could not help but feel worried. At that moment, while everyone was shocked, Yan Shuyang looked at Mo Qingyun with a dark expression. He said coldly, "Brat, your talent is so high that it's the first I've seen in my life. I can't bear to kill you like this." Yan Shuyang paused and said, "Lad, I'll give you one last chance. If you submit to me now, I can still spare your life. If that's the case, there's no need for you to say anything more. Come at me if you have the ability." Mo Qingyun did not take Yan Shuyang's words seriously. His hand movements did not slow down as he waved the red silk saber towards Yan Shuyang. In a short while, the red silk saber emitted a shocking fire dragon saber light and slashed towards Yan Shuyang. "Lad, since you're so stubborn, I can only destroy you." Seeing Mo Qingyun attacking him, Yan Shuyang's expression immediately turned gloomy. Then, a ball of light appeared in Yan Shuyang's hand and a terrifying aura burst out. When the ball of light appeared, the sky changed color and the ground shook. "Young lord, be careful." Seeing the ball of light in Yan Shuyang's hand, the 9 temples' expression changed, and they let out a cry of panic. When the 9 temples warned Mo Qingyun, he quickly activated the array disk of the 9 temples and released a defensive array. Pill Palace's Celestial Star. When the 9 temples attacked, Mo Qingyun's expression changed and a sense of shock rose in his heart. The Celestial Star of the Pill Palace. The ball of light in Yan Shuyang's hand was actually the Celestial Star of the Pill Palace. This was something that only high-level experts of the Pill Palace could condense. Moreover, high-level experts of the Pill Palace would have to pay a huge price to condense the Celestial Star of the Pill Palace. This would cause their cultivation to be unable to increase in a short period of time. Chapter 236. Teleportation Gate. After a brief moment of shock, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to hesitate. He immediately unleashed his martial soul's ability and summoned the teleportation gate. Following that, a whirlpool gate appeared in front of Mo Qingyun. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and rushed into the teleportation gate, disappearing from the spot. However, before Mo Qingyun left, he didn't forget to raise his hand and take away the corpses of the eye devils on the ground. These were good things. He couldn't waste them like this. In addition, when Mo Qingyun left, the array of the 9 temples was completed. A light screen appeared where they left. The appearance of the light screen blocked Mo Qingyun's teleportation gate, causing the people from the puppet kingdom to be unable to see the teleportation gate. After the light screen of the array was completely formed, Yan Shuyang's Pill Palace's heavenly dipper collided with the light screen. Bang! An earth-shattering sound rang out. Following that, a terrifying surge of heavenly lightning erupted from the light screen of the formation. The moment the heavenly thunder force appeared, it was like a dam bursting. With an earth-shattering force, it spread out in all directions. Under the heavenly thunder force, the surrounding ground immediately formed layers of mud waves that surged towards the surroundings. In just a short while, the area of 1 mile around the entrance of the Heixian Palace turned into a huge pit that was filled with flames and heavenly thunder force. At this moment, the area outside the Heixian Palace had turned into a barren land. Looking at the scene in front of them, the people from the puppet kingdom were terrified. Their hearts were still beating fast. If they hadn't run fast enough and stayed some distance away from the place where the heavenly thunder force exploded, they would have been roasted into dried corpses by the aftershock. What a terrifying Pill Palace's celestial body. High-level Pill Palace experts are indeed terrifying. Seeing that a single Pill Palace's celestial body had caused such destruction, The people from the puppet kingdom were shocked. At this moment, the reverence he had for the experts from the high-tier pill palace increased by a lot. That kid should be dead, right? Just now, I saw him setting up an array to defend against the pill palace's heavenly dipper. That brat is too naive if he wants to rely on a single array to block the terrifying heavenly star of the pill palace. Now, there's no longer a light screen of the array in this deep pit. The array should have been destroyed by the astral lightning of the pill palace. Without the protection of the formation, that kid is dead for sure. At this moment, the people of the puppet kingdom looked at the land of flames and astral lightning before them and sighed. While the crowd was sighing, Yan Xiuyang's expression changed slightly. He sighed inwardly. Although I wasted a pill palace's heaven star, it was worth it to get rid of this monstrous kid. Based on Yan Xiuyang's words, it was obvious that he was still very wary of Mo Qingyun's innate talent. Boom, 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 boom. At this moment, while Yan Xiuyang and the others were astonished, a loud explosion sounded from the flames and lightning. Following that, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. The entire ground started to shake. At this moment, the door of the Heixian Palace, which had been tightly shut, slowly opened. Seeing the door of the Heixian Palace open, a young man beside Yan Xiuyang asked, "Eighth Prince, the entrance of the Heixian Palace is now filled with flames and astral lightning. We can't go through. What should we do next?" Hearing the words of the young man beside him, Yan Xiuyang frowned slightly. After pondering for a while, he said, "Don't be in a hurry to enter the Heixian Palace. Wait for the flames and astral lightning outside the palace to weaken a little before we enter the Heixian Palace." After replying to the young man, Yan Xiuyang instructed, "Yan let everyone rest and recuperate. When the flames and astral lightning weaken a little, we will enter the Heixian Palace." "Yes, Eighth Prince." Hearing Yan Xiuyang's words, Yenda immediately responded and instructed everyone. While Yan Xiuyang and the rest were recuperating, outside the Heixian Valley, a whirlpool of light suddenly appeared. Following that, a young man of 17 or 18 years old walked out from it. This young man was naturally Mo Qingyun, who had used his martial soul's ability to escape through the teleportation gate. Phew! That was close. This time I almost died there. After walking out of the teleportation gate, Mo Qingyun let out a deep breath. His expression was one of lingering fear as he said those words of relief. Following that, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious as he said, "I didn't expect Yan Xiuyang to possess the Pill Palace's celestial spirits. It seems like the next time I meet him, I'll have to be more careful. If it wasn't for his martial soul's ability, the teleportation gate, he would have failed miserably." This is? While Mo Qingyun was rejoicing, the 9 temples revealed a look of shock and suspicion. He clearly remembered that he was setting up a formation just now. How did he end up here the moment the formation was completed? After a brief moment of confusion, the 9 temples' expression suddenly changed. As if he had thought of something, he immediately exclaimed, "Teleportation! The young lord can actually teleport." This discovery shocked the 9 temples quite a bit. His mind was in a daze for a moment. Teleportation was a technique that only Supremes could use. Mo Qingyun was only at the true energy realm, but he was able to do it. This ability had already broken the knowledge of the 9 temples. It was simply too terrifying. After a brief moment of shock, the 9 temples carefully asked Mo Qingyun, "Young lord, what did you just do?" "It's just a type of teleportation technique." Hearing the 9 temples' question, Mo Qingyun didn't hide it and directly replied to the 9 temples. With his relationship with the 9 temples, there was no need to hide it. There's actually such a technique? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the 9 temples was once again shocked. Shortly after, he said with a bitter tone, "If I had known that the young lord had such a technique, I wouldn't have set up the formation just now." Hearing the 9 temples' words, Emo Qingyun revealed a puzzled expression and asked, "Why do you say that?" "Young lord, in order to block Yen Shuoyang's Pill Palace's Heaven Star, I have already used up 80% of the formation energy in the Nine Temples formation disk." The Nine Temples tone was somewhat gloomy as he continued, "If we don't replenish the formation energy as soon as possible, the Nine Temples formation disk won't be able to set up any more formations in the future. We won't even be able to set up a teleportation formation." Hearing the Nine Temples words, Emo Qingyun's expression changed, and he asked in a deep voice, "What kind of things do we need to replenish the formation energy in the Nine Temples formation disk?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, the Nine Temples replied, "You just need to find the star pattern formation stones. There should be some in the 100 countries battlefield. I've seen them before." Star pattern formation stones? I'll have someone take note of them in the future. After hearing this, Emo Qingyun nodded and said in a deep voice, "Now that the entrance to the Heixian Palace is blocked by flames and lightning, I'm afraid we won't be able to enter the Heixian Palace for the time being. I can make use of this time to refine those eye demons." With that, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately started refining the eye demons. As Emo Qingyun refined the eye demons, the bloodline power in the eye demons was immediately extracted by Emo Qingyun. Once the eye demon bloodline was extracted, Emo Qingyun rapidly refined it to strengthen his eye bloodline. Just like that, time passed little by little as Emo Qingyun cultivated. The connection with one of the soul assimilating imprints has been severed. At this moment, when Emo Qingyun was refining the eye demon bloodline, his heart suddenly shook and a sense of unease rose in his heart. He had just sensed that the connection between him and one of the soul assimilating imprints had been severed. This meant that one of the people he had planted the soul assimilating imprint on had died. After this discovery, Emo Qingyun's heart immediately sank and he guessed, could it be that the people of the 10 Kingdoms have attacked Pink City? I wonder how Brother Lu and the others are now. After feeling slightly worried, Emo Qingyun frowned slightly and thought to himself, I have set up the minor heavenly cycle star formation outside Brother Lu and the others' cultivation room. As long as they don't come out, they shouldn't be in any danger. After thinking about that, Emo Qingyun felt more at ease. He continued to refine the eye demons and waited for the power of fire and thunder outside Heixian's palace to weaken. Just like that, another 5 days passed. The eye devil in Emo Qingyun's hands was finally completely refined. After these days of cultivation, Emo Qingyun's heavenly soul magic eye bloodline power had been strengthened quite a bit. Now, Emo Qingyun was confident that if he were to encounter Yen Shuoyang's puppet eye power ray again, he would definitely be able to defeat it forcefully. The power of fire and thunder outside Heixian's palace has weakened. I can enter Heixian's palace now. When he realized that the power of fire and thunder outside Heixian's palace had weakened, Emo Qingyun was immediately overjoyed and looked anxious. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.